This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, but sporting a beautiful Toronto background behind me on this November the 29th, 2025. Thanksgiving weekend in this where my guest is. For some weird reason, we have it in October. I still can't fathom that, but whatever. I've had a lot of people wish me happy Thanksgiving this weekend. I find it ironic. I'm like, oh, sure, sure. But anyway, folks, I'm sure my guest has decorated his tree full of pumpkins and spooky things. I've had him on. Uh, this is his fifth time on the show as a solo. I had him on once as in a group Zoom. And of course, he's the author of Shh, and he's the author of several other books as well, including some that he's going to be promoting and plugging on here tonight. Folks, I give you the awesome Jason Bradford. How do you do, Jason?
I'm good, Greg. Thanks. Thanks for having me on. Like you said, this is my fifth time. I've survived four other times. That makes me the a survivor, if you will.
And
Oh, and
folks,
I have to correct you about the Christmas tree. I do have a Christmas tree up. I have seven Christmas trees up.
what do you think Santa's going to be extra good to you or what?
I go a little overboard on the holidays. Yes, I had a house full of decorations that I took down for Halloween, including a 12-foot skelly that I bought for my grandson because he has an obsession with skeletons. How proud can I be of that?
Hmm?
And yeah, so I'm still actually moving up more Christmas stuff, but right now I currently have seven Christmas trees up, and most of them are decorated. So gotta love the holidays. Gotta love them.
Folks, he said he cut his own hair whenever before he come on here. He said he won't let anybody else come at him with a pair of scissors.
And why
And
would I? I have a pair of scissors in my bathroom. It's they just take them and cut them yourself. Shave up the ears. Do your own trimming. You might have to find somebody to cut the back of your neck to keep the line straight. As I get older and I can't see, I can't maneuver the mirror and the clippers as well. So I do have someone do the line in the back. But other than that, save yourself 30 bucks, cut your own hair. If you fuck up, it grows back.
yeah, one thing I like about when I go to the barber is I like the head massages.
Hmm.
And I never always got them. One of my barbers offered it one time, and I was like, head massage? I never had head massage. She goes, oh yeah, it comes with the shampoo. And I'm like, okay. I'm gonna tell you, after working all night, because I went today and got a trim done, and I was like, after working from six, I ended up doing five buildings last night. So I was done at about 8 o'clock this morning, 8:30. I kind of needed that head massage.
Yeah, you work a lot of hours too.
Well, my coworker messaged me last night and says that she and her boyfriend went to Burger King and whatever it is they had, they ended up puking up.
Oh.
And I told her, I said, suck it up. I worked the night of an eye operation. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, but inside, I was like, are you kidding me? I got two more buildings after this, and I got to do your work on top of mine.
Yeah, you do work a lot of hours. I see your posts. You work like 12 is your norm. That's crazy.
Well, I put a post on there last night. I slammed the hospital because I was like, I heard people, and I put that on there for a reason. Because after I put that up there, right after my coworker sent me that text, and I was like, Mother, I was like, when I worked at the hospital, the one I got fired from, I heard people that would take days off work just because they didn't want to go to work. And from my vantage point, I mean, you get your vacation time and whatnot, but to me, if you have a situation where you absolutely, like an emergency or something, where you have to
Mm.
take time off,
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to go fucking off on your days off, you know?
Mhm.
And I ran into a lot of that at the hospital, and I'm sitting there thinking ironic that they got rid of me, and yet here I'm the one that's showing up even at the two cleaning jobs I have. I have two cleaning jobs now because my the one I've had since 2020 lost a building, but the company that took it over kept me and my coworker on there. So that all worked out. But
That's good.
nevertheless, it's like, yeah, I mean, I could have just screwed off last night, but I didn't. Nothing would have got done. So
Right. And they probably
yeah,
go behind you and check your work list. Is that what they do? They follow up and make sure everything's done?
not really.
Or is it just
They don't
they're
get
just
any they don't get any complaints.
well, that's good.
Skittles. Oh,
I eat
Skittles.
Skittles.
Skittles is like, you're exploiting me.
You should take him someplace tropical because tropical Skittles are my favorite.
Skittles is related to the King of Beast. And I know this because I went to the zoo in Toronto and I saw the lions doing exactly what Skittles does most of the time here.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And they say the lion sleeps about 18 to 20 hours a day, which sounds
wow.
about on par with Skittles here.
Skittles. Maybe that's my spirit animal then. I would love to sleep 20 hours a day.
Skittles, I wish you'd clean the apartment, you know. Wish you'd clean the apartment because you got lots of time to do it. Skittles is like, you're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing me. Yet you're purring. Yeah, you're so embarrassed. He wants to get down so bad. I gotta put my finger down here. He's got to rub against it. But anyway, uh, what was I saying before Skittles came?
Was it about the uh Pandora? Maybe? I don't.
No, it wasn't about Pandora. But anyway, um,
So,
oh, about work, yeah. So well, I just stick my headphones in and listen to podcasts and stuff, and I get annoyed, awfully annoyed, when I'm listening to something and I'm getting right into it, and a fucking ad comes up. I don't know how many times I've even exited of a video because of that.
mhm.
It's like I'm invested in this, and then a fucking ad pops up.
Yeah.
They're going to do ads, put it at the beginning or put it at the end. We don't need five or six ads breaking up the
That's
video.
that's why I like to listen to iHeartRadio. I have a paid subscription and I listen to it at work. I'm not promoting iHeartRadio, by the way. I'm just saying that it's nice to have a service where you don't hear commercials. I understand how annoying they are.
Yep. And so, especially this is why I don't listen to podcasts while I drive anymore, because I'd be
Hmm.
listening to, and I can't take my hands off steering wheel to X out of a
Right.
frick, and then you've got ones. Some of these ads will go. I've had ads go like 5 minutes,
Mm.
and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I pay for this phone every month. I'm not paying for your fucking ads. Get quit interrupting the video. So I don't know how many times I just fuck X'd out of a video and just screw it. I get that frustrated, but anyway, but generally that's what I do when I'm at work. I listen to podcasts and stuff, and it kind of makes things go. And plus, I like working overnights because it's like I don't have to deal with so many people. I got,
Hey, Greg, I'm going to interrupt you here. You said you listen to podcasts. Which podcasts do you listen to?
you know what?
Do you listen to the Terror Express?
Actually, let me redefine podcast.
Uh-huh.
I listen to independent media because I don't trust their mainstream media, but I get a bunch of them that I listen to where I get my news off of. I listen to my friend the Creepy Ghoul in Toronto, who does unboxing videos. In fact, he got a Black Friday one that he's got posted there tonight that I'll probably listen to. But when I mean podcast, I mean I go on and I listen to videos and stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But podcast just happens to be the word. Like I don't even listen to mine really, but anything that can keep me. I listen to a lot of the Cinema Snob. I love the Cinema Snob, especially when he's got these big year-in release videos that are like 3 or 4 hours long. That will do me a good chunk of my and that's generally what I do. Now my coworker listens to her music while she works, so
Yeah, I like music.
yeah.
Usually the
I,
80s. I listen to the 80s a lot.
yeah.
I'm an 80s. I'm an 80s kid. You're an 80s kid, so you get it. You get the cheese. The cheese is amazing from the 80s.
Hmm.
There's never been cheese quite as good as 80s cheese.
Oh yeah. I listen to a lot of 80s music. I don't even know what's popular today in music because there's a lot of that
Mm.
auto tuning and stuff like that. And I'm like, how much of this is them and how much of this is just processed?
Right. Now with AI too, you got that whole new layer of annoying added to the music.
Yep. Yep. But anyway, but yeah, I should check into the Terror Express. Are
I
you
honestly,
guys?
I haven't done an interview in a couple of years. Nancy McLaughlin was my last interview, and you know that was over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. She was she was my last. I went out on a bang. It was an honor to have a Friday the 13th cast member as my going out. I wouldn't say going out. It's more of a back burner. I may go back to it someday, but I don't have any plans anytime soon. I have two other novels and it's like six other novellas that are on my to write list before I even think of the podcast. But I had a great time on it, and I think it's still on the platforms. I know it's definitely on YouTube. So if you want to listen to it, I hope you like it.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because after 20 years,
Mhm.
I left the radio station that I was
Mhm.
volunteering at.
I remember
There,
my first interview with you. You were at the radio station. Maybe the
yeah.
first two.
Well,
Definitely the
I
first one. I know, definitely the first.
yeah, from 2015 to 2020, I did it down there, and then the lockdown happened. Nancy introduced me to Zoom, and that's kind of like I like doing them this way because I'm at my apartment and don't have to book time at the station. The
Right.
reason I left the station is because with my working and sleeping, I'm too exhausted to go down there Sunday and do it.
Hmm.
And I noticed la last year, I think I was there once since getting back from Frightmare in the Falls. And they connected with me about it, and I was very apologetic. They're playing backlog interviews and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
finally, I said, "Look, I'm very very sorry." I said, "This is not fair to anybody, but it's I'm working like pretty much on average about 12 hours a day, and when I'm not doing that, I'm sleeping." I do interviews when I can. I try to go to the movie theater once a week, but I said that I'm just too exhausted, and they understood, and they said contact them if I want to come back, and so there was no bad blood or anything like that. It's just I was there for 20 years, so
Mm.
that's a long time, but
It
and
is.
but yeah, and I was doing my podcast through 10 years of it, so but it's just it's like what you said with Terror Express. Other things come up, and it's like it's hard to devote time to it. And That's one thing that frustrated me. And I don't want to fault my coworker. I get it. If you're sick to your stomach and you're throwing up, it's kind of hard to commit to work. But I was like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I've had food poisoning before. It's awful. It-
Yeah. So I mean, I told her I got this, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I got two more buildings after this, you know. But I mean, I did it. But that was when I put that post on there. It's like, yeah, the hospital didn't appreciate this at all.
No, they
Nope,
don't. Big corporations don't appreciate the little guy. They don't.
nope, nope. But anyway, that's okay. Their loss.
Hmm.
And by the way, I hope they see. I know because I got a few of them still on Facebook. I hope they see that. Now what pisses them off? You know, they want to. I mean, when we had those the warm like heated up blankets that were brought down there, they're supposed to be for the patients, not for nurses to wrap it or up and play on their phone. Yeah, I saw
Right.
that a lot. And then
Yes.
they would complain when a patient rang. Yeah. Yeah, I could do a whole outline of the bullshit that goes on at the hospital, at least here anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, I see that a lot too with the heated blankets and the
Yeah.
complaining get up.
Now your shirt looks interesting. Now what is that? Looks like some chains on it.
My sh this is my skull shirt. I actually got this on the set of 13 Fanboy from Bo Boykin gifted this to me. He was a producer on it, and he gave it. I think it was toward the end of the shoot, and he just had the shirt left over and gave it to me. And it has become one of my favorite, most worn T-shirts. I've probably worn this on one of your other interviews. This is just, it's like a
Oh,
go-to t
really?
for me.
Wow.
It's soft, it's comfortable, it's black, so it's forgiving.
And it pops.
It
It
pops.
pops.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, even that necklace, that cross necklace you got blends right in with it nicely.
Yeah, my unk. Yeah.
There you
This was
go.
actually gifted to me by a friend of mine who recently passed away. So this is just to keep him close.
There you go. Wow. Okay, well, it pops nicely. So there you
Thank
go.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, I know I was very apologetic to you because I have not got all of Bitch Red. But as I said, I got the Friday the 13th Part 3 script from Tracy Savage, and I haven't even opened it yet. That's
Did
that's
did you
been my
hear
life.
did you hear anything about the Friday the 13th script yet from the part 3 script? Have you heard anything about it?
No.
I've seen Larry, I believe Catherine, some the cast members from part 3. I've seen interviews with a lot of them, and I'm going by verbatim on what I remember and through research that the original screenplay there was two long sequences written for Shelley and Vera. Who Vera Catherine Parks is. I mean, we probably had this conversation. She is my all-time favorite character slash actor in the franchise. Just there's something about Vera, but there was two sequences written where they leave the store and the bikers are chasing them and there's a wine bottle involved and a cork goes flying and hits Ali. I don't know if you know that. Hopefully this will be in the script. I'd like to think this is in there and that this is legit. And then there was another Vera's death was supposed to be where she goes in the lake to get Shelly's wallet,
Hmm.
sees Jason, which, like I said, I love Vera, but she's got the stupidest line in the entire franchise. Who are you? What are you doing? I cut that out. If someone's pointing a harpoon gun at my face, I'm not going to ask them who are they and what are they doing. I'm going to freak the fuck out, right? But anyway, so anyway, there's this scene written where she goes under the water because she's trying to escape the visual aspect of Jason, so he can't see her because she knows he's trying to kill her. So she keeps going under. And the way it was written is there's like this underwater setup with the cameras where they would show her under the water, holding her breath and having to come back up. And Jason would aim the harpoon and she'd go back under. And she just got so tired that eventually he ended up killing her anyways. But production would have taken way too long and it would have been way too expensive. And with the 3D cameras being new at the time, they opted not to do any of that and they shortened it to what we see. But I think that would be great, which they did that again with Willa Ford in the 2009 remake when she was in the water. She was supposed to, her death was supposed to be just being in the water where Jason hunted her and she was too afraid to get out and she eventually got too weak and drowned. But again, it's production, it's costs, it's all that stuff. And we ended up with what we got, the machete in the top of the head, which is still a fun kill, you know? But I think to see these on the scripts and like that's what I was saying is that hopefully your script from part three given to you by Tracy has those scenes in there. It'd be interesting to read those. So you have to follow up with me and let me know if you
I'll
would.
have to do that. Yeah. But yeah, between work and sleep, like I am going to try to do my annual Christmas watch list I do every year.
Mm.
I do the 12 nights of Christmas and 12 days of Christmas because you got 24 days before Christmas. And so I try to fit in 12 traditional Christmas movies and 12 Christmas horror movies and go back and forth on them. And the 12 days will be the Christmas ones, traditional ones, and the 12 nights will be the horror ones. And I and I try to watch one a day going right up to Christmas Eve, you know, and so I did that the last few years. So so I'm looking forward to doing that, but I just to put something in my Blu-ray player the other day for the first time in probably a month or so, you know, it, like I hadn't even turned the TV on to watch anything. It's just yeah.
Yeah.
So
My first holiday film of the season is always Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan is like my first holiday movie. I know it's not technically a holiday movie to a lot of people, but it's the
mhm.
movie that I have on every year when I'm putting up my Christmas tree. It's a tradition. It's like an over a decade long tradition that is the movie that is on when my first Christmas tree goes up every year without fail. So if I'm watching it in May or July or September, I get this really overwhelming urge to put up a Christmas tree because that's what I relate it to. And I keep my digital copy in a Christmas folder on Fandango. So if I want to, if I can find it easily and under many files, including my Christmas movie list. Because sorry, I'm a little passionate about the Friday the 13th franchise. I could probably outtalk anybody on those movies. So I'll try and back off a little bit. Sorry.
I hope Tom McLaughlin gets to make the one that he has planned because I wouldn't mind seeing him direct another one.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah.
yep. But I mean, Sean Cunningham was that Frightmare in the Fall. He is short.
I've met Sean. I thought he was also. I hear a lot of mixed experiences. I personally thought he was a class act. He was a very very nice guy. I got a signature donated to him for charity, so he didn't hesitate. He was a great guy. He saw a picture of my grandson as my screensaver on the phone who had just been born a few months before, and I got to tell him that Friday the 13th was the first movie that my grandson sat through in his entire life. So he began his life journey on the right path with the original Friday the 13th. Like can't beat that.
John put a crate on the floor and stepped onto it
Nice.
in that
Nice.
photo with me. And
He wanted to be 5 feet tall.
I found that I'd never seen that before. I thought that was hilarious,
Well,
you know?
Danny Pantoro from Who's the Boss in Cujo was at Motor City Nightmares. I think it was last year. I don't remember if it was last year or this year. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was with Dee Wallace and Henry Thomas. It was like a Cujo ET kind of reunion. And so I got to meet Danny, and he was short. He was sitting on two chairs stacked on top of each other, so that when people stopped his table, he wasn't way down here. He was up higher to make him look a little taller. And the picture I have of him, I'm only 5'8", so I'm short. And Danny came up to like here on me when he was standing next to me, so he's got to be like pushing just like 5'1", something in the Judy Garland height 4'11" kind of thing.
Well, I did. I've had Dee Wallace on here twice, and
Hmm.
I've had her. I met her twice in person. Once at
Sweetheart.
Horrorama, and I
She's a
met her at,
sweetheart.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she remembered me. I felt bad because apparently I found this out through her handler. Her sister passed away that weekend.
Oh no.
Yeah, but apparently she's stuck it out the weekend. I guess it just took her mind off it or something. But
Yeah.
she's total professional. But Dee has always been great. Um, I actually got my photos from that. Let's see, what did I get signed by Dee here?
While you look for that, I'll tell a quick D story. When I saw her, I took my grandson to the horror convention. Like I just want him wrapped in horror. We took him there, and the first thing Dee said to me when she saw me was she says, "Hi, Angel." And, she's very sweet, very huggy. And then she got to chasing after, excuse me, I got the hiccups. She went to chasing after Maverick. That's my grandson, and she was blowing raspberries on his stomach, and just she was. You can tell she's great with children. She loves kids. She was fantastic with him. He was only 2, and she's got him laughing and like I said, blowing raspberries and just being amazing with him. So Dee is a class all her own. She is untouchable as far as just great with fans. Is that you and Dee? You're in a little tiny
Yep,
box right now. You have to
that
say
is,
something. There you go. Oh yeah,
yeah, that's the photo op we did.
yeah, that's nice. Is she wearing her purple? Is that a purple velvet jacket? I
Yep.
think she may have been wearing that one too when I saw her once.
Yeah, she
Looks
was
good in that.
great.
Good color on
Yep.
her.
Yep. So, but I felt awfully bad to hear about her sister, but she
Yeah,
was a total class act,
she is.
and I know when I met her before at Horrorama, I got my ET Blu-ray sign, my Howling Blu-ray sign, and a photo of her, stock photo of her with ET. But this time I got a Howling picture signed.
Yep, I love her little happy face. You know that happy face is supposed to be a nod to the yellow sticker in the Howling.
Yes. Well, that and Joe Dante would have the happy face on the refrigerators in Gremlins.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
And it was done deliberately, kind of a throwback to the Howling.
yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed meeting Dee. She was real class. She was there with three other cast members from ET. Um,
Probably Henry Thomas. I met him
Henry
with
Thomas, the older brother, and the guy,
Michael.
yeah, and the guy that played the ET.
Okay, I think he recently passed away, didn't he?
Not that
Am
I
I
know
wrong?
of,
Okay, good.
but I didn't have time to meet. I couldn't meet everybody, but I did get Henry Thomas. So I did meet Henry Thomas. So, but it's just like, yeah, my Henry Thomas autograph is in here somewhere.
What did you think of Henry Thomas as Jack in the D Doctor Sleep?
You know what? I love Doctor Sleep.
I did
I
too, and I think
I
Henry did a
really,
fantastic
yeah.
job.
For something risking being a sequel to The Shining, I
Hmm.
really loved it. And I love Rebecca Ferguson,
Hmm.
but I enjoy Doctor Sleep a lot,
I did too.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah. That was the first movie that I saw that I cried. I was 10 years old in the theater. It was the scene with Drew Barrymore when E.T. died and she started crying. I started crying. So, and I have been a huge Drew Barrymore fan since I was 10 years old. I used to joke that she was going to be my second ex-wife. Of course, I suppose you have to meet, fall in love, propose, get married, fight, hate each other, threaten death, and then divorce, like I did with my first wife. But I didn't threaten death. I have to clear that up right now. That came out wrong. But anyway, so Drew never happened and never became my second wife, my second ex-wife, because I was supposed to meet Flo from the insurance, the Progressive Insurance girl. She was supposed to be my third ex-wife, so that never happened. She just looks like a lot of fun camping and stuff, but I don't know. I
Well,
guess
I
just
saw
one ex-wife is all
E.T.
I get. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw E.T. at the drive-in when I was 10 years old because I was ten in 1982 when that came out. So
yeah,
I've
same,
seen,
same.
yeah. So I've seen E.T. a few times at the theater. So no, I think E.T. is terrific,
Mm.
but yeah, I didn't get the chance to meet everybody. Like they had a big Jaws reunion there as well. And I ha had scheduled 6 photo ops. I never had done photo ops until last year at Frightmare in the Falls.
Yeah.
I did one because Tracy Savage was there.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm going to try a photo op. I did one with Tracy, and I did one with Suzanne Snyder. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I did Fan Expo for the first time, and I did 4 photo ops. They can be pricey depending, but I
Yeah.
kind of look at the sentimentalism because I did one that was like $300, but it was Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, yeah. I would have
And
paid that. I would have paid that.
yeah, I did. And I was like, I got to do this one
Hmm.
because Christopher Lloyd's still pretty active. You know, he
Hmm.
moves around quite well. He's in his 80s, but he moves around quite well. Michael J. Fox is progressively getting worse, but he was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And he worked with my friend Lisa Langwan, class of 1984, and I had her on my t-shirt from that movie. And when we walked in to shuffle in for the photo op, he noticed my t-shirt and he was reacting, trying to give a thumbs up sign.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I text Lisa, I said, "You're not gonna believe this." So that was pretty cool, you know. And I did a photo op with Ewan McGregor, who was a
Good. Good.
total pro. Ewan is.
Good.
Yeah.
I did one with Alicia Silverstone, and she was a total pro.
Oh,
feel like I
was
may,
he?
I feel like I may have said this on one of our last
I
episodes
didn't
together.
know this. Yeah.
Yeah, she was fantastic. There was a little girl in line in a wheelchair, and Alicia pushed her way through all of her fans very kindly. Let me mind you, she wasn't just like pushing through them, but she made her way to this little girl, and she sat or stooped beside her and got cheek to cheek with her and took pictures with her, and she talked to her, and she didn't rush. I mean, she kept it respectful for all the people waiting, obviously, but she was smiling and giggling, and then the little girl, she got to leave. She didn't have to wait in line anymore. At least he did not want her waiting in line because she was in a wheelchair, and she was very thoughtful and took her handicap into consideration with the comfort and all that stuff. And I had so much respect for her in that moment.
Hmm.
It was a beautiful moment to see, and it made me feel really good that somebody that I love as an actor can respect and love her fans that much, that she appreciates them that much. And that, I think, fan appreciation in an actor is like the biggest compliment that a fan can have, and it can really make you elevate the level of respect that you have for an actor. And that's what that moment did for me with her.
Well, Ewan McGregor was really great. You know, he wasn't seated down. You come in, he would greet you with a smile. You come into the because they shuffle you in, but he was like, you know, he shook my hand, uh, thanked me for coming. He'd do the
Mhm.
photo with me, and then thank you again, and you leave. But Ewan was very professional, very friendly, very engaging.
I
Photo
hear
ops, you
the
can't. Yeah,
I hear the cast from Scream, especially the Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, are also very, very friendly with their fans. I hear they're pretty amazing too, from what I hear. I've never met them.
I
I would
haven't
like,
either.
but I hear nothing but amazing things about them as well.
And I get a lot of people that ask me about doing my photo op with Mike Tyson.
Hmm.
And his was sold out, but I got a photo op. And my story with him is he was seated in a chair. When I got up to him, I kind of leaned in and I said, I loved you in The Hangover. And he had this look of glee in his eye when I said that. And I got a good picture with him, you know. I think he
Yeah.
liked that.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments in the last convention I went to was with Melanie Kinnaman. I went dressed as Pam Roberts. I had on the blue
Mhm.
jeans, the tall brown boots, and the white shirt, the pink sweater tied. Sometimes I showed up with the sweater, sometimes I showed up without the sweater, but I walked up to her and I looked down and I said, "What's up, Pam?" And she got the biggest kick out of it. She actually took a picture of me and posted it on her Facebook page. So that was pretty great. And then I went back the next day because Ron Sloan was there and he's a friend of mine. So 20 minutes away, there's no way I'm not gonna go see the cast of Part Five, which is my favorite in the franchise, and not see them. So when I went back the next day, Melanie had said, "Yeah, your picture on my Facebook is taken off. There's a lot of people reacting to it." I'm like, "Well, yeah, people love Pam Roberts. So if there's especially if there's a guy dressed like Pam Roberts, I think it's going to get a little bit more notice because I don't know, it's like fun dress up that you don't expect, I guess." But there was another gentleman she posted about a month later dressed as Pam Roberts, and I have to say, he looked a lot better than I did. He killed the look better than I did, so I was a little jealous. He was a little better looking. He was a little more Pam Robertsy, I guess, if you would. But he looked great, and I was like, all right, you go, dude.
I'd love to meet Melanie. That hasn't happened. I would have loved to have met Lara. I felt so bad when she passed away,
I did
you
too.
know.
I will always be thankful that I did get to meet Lauren. She was fantastic. She was one of the ones that I was so nervous of saying something stupid in front of on the fanboy set, um, and I did, not knowing it was her. And I think I probably told you that story once before, but it was. I'm just so honored to say, yeah, I got to meet her. She was a beautiful person. I
I
was I
had
was I almost had to miss work today, Shada. I was so distraught. It was a shock. I think I was in shock for like 3 days
I was
because
in
that's
talks
far.
to yeah. I was in talks to have her come on a third time. She was on my show in 2016, and I had her on just a little over a year before she passed, and she
Yeah.
was on the Zoom. I actually had a little thing of Nutella.
Mhm.
And I said to her, I said, "You don't mind if I eat well during the interview, do you?" And she's like, "Oh no, no, fine, all's good." So I said, "Good, because
I
this Nutella is just
Uh-huh.
speaking to me."
Yeah.
And watching her react to that,
Uh-huh.
I
I
was
cannot
hoping,
I cannot walk past Nutella in the grocery store, and a lot of times they have it up by the registers, those little box, the little ones with the what are they like animal cracker sticks or whatever.
Mhm.
I cannot walk past Nutella without thinking about Lar and her addiction to Nutella. So I will always relate those two things, when the Nutella and the Lar.
Yeah. And Lar also, Lar uh, was one of the people that believed in me with the 13 fanboy debacle, and she was great with me. She did do a Doubtfire challenge. She had no issue doing that, but
I remember hers. I remember hers. She wasn't afraid to get messy.
she was rubbing in her hair and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But
Yes.
I remember during the interview, uh, she gave me she gave me she didn't do it on during the interview, but she sent me Terry Kaiser's number, and she
Hmm.
says to me, "So you can go stalk him," which I thought was funny. I haven't had Terry on because when I called him, he's not tech savvy. So he doesn't do Zoom, and I don't know how to do the interview outside Zoom, So
Right.
but he's feeding his neighbor's dog when I was talking to him, but I know he was asking me about my eye. I guess Lar told him I had the eye operation at the time, and but no, I felt so bad when Lara passed. I'm glad I had her on twice. And I'm glad one of them was a Zoom. And I think one of the biggest treats was her reaction to Nutella because I just ribbed her on that. You
Yeah.
know, I even brought up that you brought a large one.
Hmm.
What's that?
I got a big hug from her for that. That was totally worth it. Her hug was bigger than the big jar of Nutella that I gave her. So it
Yeah.
was a nice moment. It was one of my favorite moments of working with her was that reaction.
I love Lar. Rest in peace, Lar Park Lincoln. I felt, and it's funny too because I was supposed to have her on. We were going to do it December before she passed, and then she said, "Can we do it January?" And like I said, between her schedule and my schedule of what I'm doing, it didn't happen. I was going to get back to her about it, and I was like, "Wow." It's what I say when I talk about the Judy thing. You know, when I reached out to her when I did, I said a lot of it had to do with the fact that when I had Dick Miller on, Dick Miller was not on my list to reach out to. He was just doing a lot of cons, and I was like, would he do my show? Turns out he did do my show
Nice.
5 or 6 months before he passed.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my. So I was glad to have done that. So,
And I was
well,
fortunate to have Carol Locatel was on Terror Express a couple of times. I got the first interview that she did together with Ron Sloan as Ma and Pa, Ma and Junior Hubbard, as fans will
hmm
know. I was fortunate that they were on together. I know they've gone on to do at least one other podcast after the Terror Express together, but I did confirm that I was the first time that they were together. So I had that. That was a cool exclusive to have. And she was super sweet, and she was another one that really affected me when she passed away. It was one of those moments where you just don't forget where you are, what you're doing, and what your first thoughts are when you hear it. It stays with you. She was that impactful. She was so sweet.
did you talk about uh, hitting Burt Reynolds with her purse and Sharky's machine?
We did talk about Burt Reynolds and Shark's Machine. I don't recall that story, but we did talk a little bit about the wig and how if you when you watch A New Beginning, you'll see how you know how she's dirty and her clothes are dirty and her face is dirty. I think it was Ron who told a story with her in the same interview where she went to to the side of the road before the camera was set up and while they were like setting up the shot, and she just sat down on the side of the road and just picked up all this really thick dirt and stuff and just started like smearing it and wiping it everywhere and just that's where all the streaks on her clothes came from. And I don't know if it was Ron or one of the filmmakers behind the camera. Maybe if you talk to Ron, you can confirm this, but somebody said, Carol, what are you doing? And she said something along the lines of, and in my head, she said this in the character of Ethel, like something along the lines of, what the fuck does it look like I'm doing? I'm getting ready. So the dirt and the smears and stuff like that, that was all Carol. That was all improv.
There
So I
you
would
go.
imagine that's when they have to have Junior. I don't know if they matched his clothes to be with like her, 'cause, you know, his sweatshirt is nasty. It looks like old soup stains or something that are on there, which are if I remember correctly, Ron talked about that. It was I think he said it was a can of soup, probably Campbell's chicken soup, and they threw all kinds of nasty shit in there to make it look the way it does. So, but I do have one thing that Carol sent me by email. I have her official Maz slop.
I know because you sent
Stamps
one
through the
to
whole
me.
wide world. Yeah, I do have that on email. So usually on her birthday, um, which is in December, if I remember correctly, I think it's Christmas. I
Oh, wow.
usually I usually post the offer in the horror groups to share that with them if anybody wants it. I usually just send it to their email so they can have Carol's actual soup recipe. So just to honor her because she was so sweet and people love talking about the stew. So
Actually, I
that's
think I got one sent to me from Ron Sloan, if I remember correctly.
the label or the recipe.
The label.
Yeah. That's my
So,
label. I designed
yeah,
that
he
label.
said he said that.
Strange strange story. Almost I don't want to say supernatural, but there's a strange story behind that. He I just got bored one day. I love to do graphic design and I thought there needs to be a soup of Ma's slop. And so I sat down and I created this soup label Took me about maybe 4 or 5 hours, and there's all kinds of little hidden Easter eggs in this, like the UPC code on the back, the barcode. It's literally Friday the 13th Part 5 if you look at it. There's stuff taken from the movie that's written on the back. It's just this huge nod to the love of Part 5 and Ethel's stew. And so I make this soup label, and I believe it was the very next day Ron called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for someone, and I thought of you. I wanted to know if you might be interested in making me a soup label for the conventions." And I said, "Well, are you fucking kidding me?" So I said, "Hang on a minute." So I send him this email with this soup label, which is actually already formatted to fit a Progresso can. Um, and he just flipped out, and he's like, it was kismet that he was going to ask me, and I had already done it like the day before because what are the odds, you know? So that's a fun little story that like a little psychic story. Not really psychic, but you know what I mean. It
People are
was
getting
cool.
into
It
that.
was cool. Yeah.
Like Nancy McLaughlin's got now the American Express cards.
Yes.
And
Yes. I watched
and
part
I,
six the other day, and I every time I watch part six, I see that. I put it on for comfort. Like a comfort movie. It's, the sound and stuff. It helps me sleep. But so when her character got killed and that American Express card, it's not Express. I know not too many people catch that. It's American Express, and it just goes
Mhm.
floating with blood and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a fun little catch. And now I see it every time.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that you got? Oh, you have one? Yeah, hold
Yep,
on. No, it's cutting out. Your background's cutting out. Make a noise.
there we go. There you go.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I have her medallion, her Friday the 13th Part
I've
6
got
medallion
that too.
designed. Yeah, I have yeah, I wouldn't have it if it weren't for you. You sent her to me. So
Hmm.
I have number one.
I've got number two. Yeah, I still talk to Nancy regularly, so
Yeah, she was
um,
sweet.
I love Nancy. But that also spiraled into I had Leslie Hoffman on, who's a stunt woman, but she was also the hall monitor
Hmm.
Freddy in A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I brought this up to her, and I said, "Do you ever think about doing hall passes for the conventions?"
Hmm.
I would say about 2 weeks ago, I got a private message from her thanking me. Now, I don't need credit for it, but she thanked me. She said, this originated with like you suggesting it. And she said that I've sold so many of those.
Hmm.
But I mean, I don't need the credit. I was happy to make the suggestion. I just figured it was something that people would probably flip for. But I guess she sells a lot of them. So, but anyway, but yeah, but I met Dee Wallace at the thing. I got 22 autographs at Frightmare in the Falls, and I was like,
How
wow.
can you not? You walk around these places and you see all these people, and you have a list before you go. You think, okay, this is what I'm going to get. This is what I'm going to get. I'm not going to get anyone else. I'm going to stick to this. And then you walk out of there and you've gotten all these people that you said you were going to just walk past because they're those people. You have to stop, and then you have to get the autograph, and then you have to get the selfie. It's like that. Those things can get really expensive because of these people that you've watched and loved, and it's like, oh, Henry Thomas. I have to meet Elliot. You know, he's sitting right next to Dee Wallace. How can I not? But I was fortunate because Dee Wallace was sitting right by Ron Sloan. So I was fortunate that I was able to get my daughter, my grandson, and my husband together with Dee Wallace and Ron Sloan all in one photo. So it was really cool. Because Paul, my husband, worked on 13 Fanboy with us, so it was like almost like a 13 Fanboy kind of reunion photo, if you will, with Dee and Ron together, and then I got my daughter and my grandson in there. So it's a really special photo. I actually have that one hanging up at work. And then Maverick was dressed up as Junior. He had on the hat and the goggles, and he had on the dirty ripped sweatshirt. So I have this really cool photo with Ron in costume with Maverick. He's holding Maverick, and they match. It's like a little 2-year-old junior. So that picture is also very special to me, and I have that one hanging up at work too. So a lot of July photos from this last year's convention hanging up at work. My coworkers think I'm a nut.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the only time I brought 13 Fanboy up was when I was waiting in line for Dee Wallace, and I got the table, and her handler asked me when I was getting signed, and I just mentioned that Dee's been on my show twice, and that I was a co-producer on 13 Fanboy, and Dee just kind of looks up. She goes, "I remember you." Dee
Yeah.
was awesome,
Yeah, she
but
is.
yeah, but I started doing some photo ops. I did six. Oh, I was supposed to do six at Frightmare in the Falls because they had a big job. I was back and forth. Do I want to? Because it would have been like $500 to do the Jaws reunion. There goes six cast members there. Both of those ended up getting refunded because, well, I just kind of woke up in my hotel room at like 1 in the morning, and there was an email on my phone that said Richard Dreyfuss was not on his flight from Buffalo. This is 2 years in a row. Dreyfuss was a no-show, and uh,
Wow.
and I guess Carla Hogendick, who was in the movie, was a no-show as well. And so they ended up canceling even the reunion uh, photo op. Um, and I just can't. I'm at 22. I could meet everybody, but I did go meet Jeffrey Voorhees, who I had on the show just after I get back home here. But so that was cool. But Fan Expo was the first time I've been to a convention where I had a complaint.
Hmm.
I had a few hiccups with that, and one was William Shatner. Turned
Hmm.
out I'd met William Shatner twice, and I met him at Chiller in New Jersey, and he was just there the one day. He looked like he had just gotten out of bed. And I got my younger brother the autograph because he watches Skittles while I'm gone. I did the photo selfie with him, did a fist bump with him. Nothing big, but it was fun. It was fine. This time at Fan Expo, or not Fan, yeah, Fan Expo, I don't know what went on, but he turned out to be my worst experience this time around. Now, I don't know whether something happened with his flight or whatnot, but I got in, Fan Expo goes 4 days. I wasn't there for Thursday. I did Friday and Saturday. Sunday I was leaving early, so I wasn't there for that. But I stood in. So I had to get him first. 'Cause I figured the lineup would be big. So stood in his line for 3 hours. And my legs, the back of my knees, my shins, my lower back were starting to get sore. And I wasn't the only one. And some so finally somebody comes and says, he won't be here till 4 o'clock. I was like, okay. And so he said, but you can pre-buy a picture so you can get an autograph and you'll automatically go ahead in the line. So I got a photo. I decided this time I was going to get the photo autograph this time because he's 94 years old. So anyway, I went and I did my other photo ops and stuff like that. Get there at 4 o'clock. Still not there. Waited another hour. And I'm going to tell you, when you're standing in a lineup that long, it is. And people are getting antsy. And I remember one of the people working there was like, give the guy a break. He's 94 years old. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, James Tolkien, the principal in Back to the Future, is also 94 years old. He's here when he's supposed to be here, and he's absolutely pleasant. Even wrote slacker on my picture. but he was pleasant. So
Yeah,
94 or not, doesn't
right. And
mean,
I understand there's different circumstances with the body when you're 94 years old. Like maybe one can move better, one's got better mobility than the other. But you're right about the one thing. You should be pleasant. Those fans are there for you. They may have bought that ticket exclusively for you alone. Why would you not be pleasant? Don't be there if you don't want to be there. Even if you're in pain and you don't move that great and you have to sit there, you're there. Be pleasant. So I agree on that.
well, Shatner was not pleasant. He got there. I kind of noticed an attitude with him with people ahead of me. I get up to him. Now, here's what I'm used to with when I go to these. It'll say photo, this price, selfie, this price, combo, this price.
Mhm.
I don't know what the miscommunication was with Expo, but there was a few issues there. And but I get up there, I got William Shatner to sign it, and I asked if I could do a selfie with him, and he declined me. I was like, why? And he says, ask him as handler. His handler looked befuddled. So I was like, fair enough. Thank you. I walked away. It's like, I'm not doing that again.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know what that was all about. It's not like I said anything rude or ignorant, but then again, people in line ahead of me, I don't know details, but they didn't exactly have the best experience either. But my second issue with Fan Expo is and I've never run into this before. I understand photo ops, you pre and this and that, they're done professionally. And some of them are really cool where people dress up or whatever, or the characters and whatnot. I
Like Pam
get it.
Roberts.
Yeah. But one of the people I sent to meet was Daphne Keene from Deadpool Wolverine. And the night before she was getting there, like their booth was set up. And so they had somebody sitting at her table, and I guess you could pre-buy photos to be autographs. And I was like, I'll be by here tomorrow. I'll do it, blah, 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 blah. So she was another one that she was there on time. The problem was the lineup was so huge for Daphne that I ended up doing three. I have one photo op one day, and then the other day I did three. Ended up having to leave the lineup to do my photo ops. I had to do it three times. I got my friend Brandy to actually stand in the line to hold it for me while I went to my third photo op because I was like, you know what? I'm getting tired of standing in this line, getting to the back of it every time. I get up to Brandy to get the photo signed, and she signs it, and I ask if I could do a selfie. Her handler declines me, and Brandy's kind of looking, or not Brandy, Daphne kind of looks befuddled. I didn't say anything because I don't want to disrupt the line or anybody in it, but I wanted to tell her handler to fuck off.
Hmm.
We're flipping the bills here,
Hmm.
you know? I don't know what that was all about or whether we had to do photo op and then pay for autograph. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't do that and I won't do it again. Have the thing on the table, autograph, photo, combo.
Hmm.
If you don't like it, don't come. Don't do it again. I didn't say that, but that's what I wanted to say. I wasn't happy about that, but I'm not going to blame Daphne on that. But her handler, I thought, was a bit of a dick. And even Brandy was like, what the fuck was up with him? I said, he was just a total prick. And the other one, I did a photo op with three Smallville women, Laura Vandervoort, Erica Drintz, and Kristen Kreuk. It's like, you know what? I got to do a photo op with these three gorgeous women around me. I met Laura Vandervoort before, and she is super awesome. You know, I just kind of noticed that because I met Laura and Kristen both individually as well. I didn't have time to meet Erica individually, but Kristen, when I met her individually, very standoffish. So her body language kind of gave a bad vibe. So I was like, hmm. But but maybe she just was having an off day. I don't know. She wasn't particularly rude, but in comparison to like Ashley Green, who actually, you want me to tell you who the highlight was at Fan Expo? Heather Locklear.
Hmm.
Oh, Heather Locklear was super awesome to meet. My goodness, she was awesome. She was total opposite of Shatner,
Yeah.
was Heather Locklear. So
You know,
anyway,
let me give a little love to the handlers. You know who had the best handler that comes to mind is Felissa Rose. And I think because Felissa Rose is amazing herself,
I've
but
met
her
her twice.
did you meet her handler? Was it the shorter girl that was really really outgoing? I think, and if this isn't her name and someone who's watching this knows her name and I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think the handler's name is Vanessa. And she was a breath of fresh air as far as handlers go. She was outgoing. You could tell she meshed well with Felissa, and she was like
Mhm.
on the game, on the ball. She was really fun. And I just remember thinking, oh, I want to remember her name because if I go back next year and I see her, I want to say hi. And she was there, and then I'm thinking, is it really Vanessa? I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm 80% certain that her name was Vanessa. But I didn't say, hey, Vanessa, the second year, because I'm thinking that 20% is probably what's going to land me on my ass if I'm wrong. So I just like, hey, I remember you. How are you? But I think her name is Vanessa. Hopefully someone can look into that for me and maybe even Felissa can confirm. But Vanessa, if that was her name, was my favorite handler. She was superior to all other handlers. So love to Vanessa, if that's her name.
I've met Flip. It's funny, my friend Brandy, who I mentioned that stood in the line that there for me, she was Warrington Gillette's handler for two Frightmare in the Falls.
Hmm.
And she is super awesome, you know. That's why, like when Daphne Keene's handler was such an ass, he was like, "What's up with him?" Because even she was because she's had experience doing this with Warrington. Warrington requested her the second time, you know. So she loves working with Warrington. But anyway, she always cosplays when she goes as well. But Felissa Rose, I've met her twice. I haven't had her on the show yet because she's like doing something every other week. I think
Busy,
she's busier than me.
busy girl. She is busy.
But but I remember I got a photo of when she's there with Dave Sheraton, and Dave Sheraton's dressed up as Officer Doofy. I got a photo of him sticking his vacuum cleaner hose up her hindquarters. And she's bent over for it. It's Doofy versus Angela. Um, but I remember I've met Christy Swanson a couple times,
I love her.
and yeah,
I've had a long-standing crush on Christy Swanson since probably the early 90s.
don't blame you.
Yeah.
On the second time, I met her once at Frightmare in the Falls, and she was at Chiller the year I went. When I met her at Frightmare in the Falls, Felissa Rose was between her and Dave Sheraton, and this was the first year Felissa Rose had photos on her table of her as Angela with the genitalia.
Mm, nice.
Like she would have the close up of the shot, but this was the first time she had a full body shot. And boy, when I met Christy Swanson, she was so distracted by that. And
Angela's
I
dick.
well, I got a bikini pic signed of Christy Swanson, obviously,
Yeah.
and she was just distracted by that photo. And Felissa Rose took a little post-it and she drew a dick on it and stuck it on the crotch of that photo of Christy Swanson. Christy looks at it and she goes, "Why is it so small?" I
Size
love
matters.
I enjoy
Get a
those
bigger
moments.
post-it, will you?
I don't think it would have mattered. I think she would have made it small regardless. But anyway, I had a great time. Uh, Fan Expo, I'm going to try it again in 2026, and hopefully I can work through any hiccups because that's the first time I encountered a few of those things. But but I had a great time at Frightmare in the Falls, you know, and I told you of course, the Judy Aronson story. Uh, I I was told about a couple months prior that she was going to be there because I didn't know. And I was told this that she was going to be, yeah, it was Scotty McCoy that told me.
Mhm.
And I was considering not going. And
Aren't
I
you
was
glad you
thinking, I'm glad I did too, but I was thinking, well, maybe I'll go do Chiller because Chiller happened the same weekend.
right?
I was nervous about the idea of doing Chiller because of the whole flight thing between US and Canada. Like, I don't know, I hear horror stories about that, and I don't know what's true and what's not. And I've got nothing on my phone that would mean me being detained, but I don't even think I even want to chance it, you know? But um, they were going to have Huey Lewis at Chiller, and I was like, that would have been totally nostalgic. But I wasn't going to go, and then they announced Jake the Snake Roberts, and I was like, I've been a fan of Jake the Snake since like 2020 or 2020, 1987. And yeah, I got that. That was a long time coming.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got Jake the Snake. And he was the first one I met. He and his wife were there, and I got them both. And I remember thinking to myself, how am I going to handle this? One option was avoid Judy altogether, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I think I know what I want to do. I know for the longest time I mentioned what I was going to do if I ever met her. I'm glad I didn't take that route, but but I wanted to keep it hush hush because I did not know how many people from 13 Fanboy would try to sabotage it. And considering the fact that Jake the Snake became my prime reason, that and Richard Dreyfuss, but Dreyfuss did not show. I decided I wasn't going to chance that, so I kept it under my hat. I didn't even advertise the event. And I think Scotty knew I was going. Nancy knew I was going because I told her what I wanted to do, and I asked her what she thought, and she told me to go for it. And she trusted that I wasn't going to do anything nefarious. And Rob Mahoney was another one I asked about because he was part of that whole thing as well. And he told me to go for it. My younger brother, who watches Skittles, he knew about it. He was skeptical. He said, what if she recognizes you? And I thought about that, and I actually have purchased a green afro wig that I was going to work out, fit right into with cosplay. But when I got there, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wear it because that just makes it look like I'm hiding. I'm just going to, I didn't tell Judy who I was for a couple reasons. One, I didn't want to potentially upset her. And number two, I didn't want to do anything upset her to the point where fans behind me might be affected by it. So I met Jake and I met Cheryl, then I met Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins' hearing is not the best, but he was in good spirits. And then I went over and I stood in Judy's line. And I'm glad I did this. Part of me was trolling 13 fanboy, but to show, you know what? I'm this close. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. but I thought was really interesting that our t-shirts matched.
Yeah, that's cool. I do want
That
to say
was
I do want to say one thing though. You had mentioned the 13 fanboy group, hoping that they didn't find out that you're going because you thought they were going to do something. What was, I don't remember the word you used just then, but something mean about you going to where Judy was. Just want to I'm pretty confident that I'm speaking for pretty much the entire group here, but I'm pretty sure that nobody would have done anything to like alert Judy or cause any friction for your visit or say, hey, Greg's going to this convention, just be on the lookout. Like again, I'm speaking for myself, and I'm pretty sure I speak for all of the 13 fanboy crew that nobody would have done that. It's been years since the screenshot
I
adapt
get that, and I
happened. So I think
appreciate that.
everyone's moved past it. Nobody would give that a second thought if you were going. Nobody would have. I don't want to use the word obsess over it, but nobody would have done that.
But you can understand where I'm coming from, where I
I
would.
here's what I understand, and I think going back to the screenshot thing.
Mhm.
I know you're very vocal about who did the screenshots. I won't give that name any power here, so I'm not gonna say the name. If you want to, you can.
That's okay.
Here's what I think. He wanted the screenshots given to you. I think he had some kind of a vendetta or even a loyalty to you. But I think what he anticipated happening with those screenshots is not what happened with those screenshots. I think instead of possibly, I'm thinking he may have wanted you to be angry at this group of people. I think what happened was it caused this stigma of anger to be held inside you and this rage that you have carried almost every day. Every time I know every time you speak with a 13 fanboy cast member or myself, you bring this up. And I think that those screenshots did more harm to you than anger, and I think that it's a sad thing. And I think that he's a terrible, rotten person for doing that to you. Like I said, I know in the beginning his intentions were probably completely different, but it
Yeah, but
backfired. I think it
Debbie
had this
Sue
effect
should
of,
have approached me privately because I think that would have
but
worked a lot better than going onto a forum.
but here's the thing. She didn't. I don't know what the relationship was there, but it's again, it's the screenshots. It's been 6 years, seven
Hmm.
years, and you're
I
gonna
don't
let it
know.
go. And I think that's the toxicity of this whole thing is that this person who brought you those screenshots caused that much pain and that much anger, that much angst. And I think his actions were nefarious. And I think that's just the type of person he is. And I think I wish you the ability to find the peace. I know you've got some closure, but
Well, I
hopefully
think
you
this
just
was
move
really
past it.
good.
Yeah.
This was really good. Now the matching t-shirts thing wasn't planned. I figured since because Sean Cunningham was going to be there and so was Ellen Luter, and I was like, I didn't meet Douglas Tate. It was just one of those ones I just didn't get around to. He seemed pleasant, but I wore the final chapter t-shirt. I wanted something Ted
Yeah.
White related on because he's my favorite Jason. So I walked up to Judy and I said, "We're twins," and she just kind of lit up at that, and I think it's funny. Um, so I got
Yeah, I
the
saw that. I saw that photo. I love the shirt.
yeah the photo of the shirt was great.
I have to say, any memorabilia and clothing for the first five movies is I'm on it.
Oh, I love
I
Jason
love
gloves
I
as
love it.
well,
Hmm.
but I like this. I got this one because it's got Ted White on it as well.
Nice. Screw you, Greg. That's great.
I I sat there thinking, yeah, screw you, Greg. Yeah, you have no idea how on the mark that comment may be. uh, but
And what a
nonetheless,
what a what a great opportunity for her to use it in that context with her famous movie line.
yeah. And well, I thought this another thing was my dad as well. It's like, how would dad have handled this? So I gave her some business instead. This was a really nice photo of her as well.
Yeah, I've always loved that photo of her. That photo is it's she's beautiful in there.
Says, "Come on, Greg, strip and dip." Judy Aronson said. I'm like, my cat doesn't even want me to strip around him, you know? She has no idea what she's asking there. But and then I did the photo. I had a pleasant exchange with her, and I went on
Hmm.
my way, did some other meets, and then there was actually with the photo op. I was very lucky because of the Jaws canceling. I was supposed to meet Jake the Snake for a photo op at 3:45. Not 3:45, 5:45. And I was lucky I got an email saying it got switched to 3:10.
Yeah.
And I was glad I got that because I got to do a photo op with Jake. I would have been pissed if I had missed that because of that.
Hmm.
But Judy had an interesting photo op, and I knew I was going to do the photo op because she had a special one. But
Oh, let me ask this because I'm always curious when I see this photo. I've seen
mhm.
other fans do this photo op. Hang on, I'm gonna be quiet for a moment, make so that
Yeah.
your watchers can see it. Just go ahead and make a noise.
Does it go come in?
And back it up a little bit. Sorry, I know that green screen effect kind of. Oh, you're completely gone. Oh, there you go. Yeah, but I know it's where she's in the raft, but my yeah, it's not gonna come in. Hold it against your shirt. Can you maybe back up and hold it against your shirt, and I'll be quiet. Make another sound.
There we go.
Yeah, it's hard to see. I don't know.
Wow.
Anyway, my
Look at
question to
that. She's just
that's
floating
perfect. She's
there
floating in the
midair,
water. Nice.
floating
My
in the
question,
water.
my question to you, and I wonder this every time I see this photo with someone. What is she wearing? Is she wearing like something that ties behind her? Is
She's
she
got
what?
like uh, like she was laying down in that when I got in there, but
Mhm.
I think she's got like a bikini on and a
Okay.
swimsuit bottom, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
I was always wondering about that, what she was wearing in that, because it looks like she's not wearing anything, which I know she is, but I was curious as to what it was that made it look like she wasn't.
yeah, I went in there.
I'm glad I was able to ask you and find out.
They handed me the hockey mask and the fake machete and I did that photo and
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. So and the only other time I had any contact with her is when I was during the um during the panel.
Pandemic.
I
Okay, yeah.
did I did three panels. I did Bai Ling, I did Jake the Snake, and I did the Friday the 13th one. And I knew I was going to ask Judy a question. I was going to ask her about Ted White, but she had already covered it through the moderator. So I asked her if it was Barbara Howard that she pulled into the water or a stunt person. So
Hmm.
she answered that. So, and I had somebody say, do you think she knows now that that was actually you? And I was like, you know what? I'm fine if she knows it was me because it's like, what's she going to say?
Right. She's not gonna.
Like, like I didn't do anything. She had a pleasant experience. I even gave her business. I got autographs. I knew where she was staying because I worked with Lisa Langlois there. They stay at a particular hotel there.
Mhm.
I didn't stay there, but I went over there to help Lisa bring stuff over to the convention the year I did Frightmare with her.
Right.
But you know, I think this was the best way I could end that with her. I was on Sunday. I was going to let her know who I was and try to, gain some extra closure, but my bus was leaving at 1:45. So I had limited time because that was going to take me back to Toronto. And I was like, oh, we'll get the rest of my autographs. And she had a lineup. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it where it is.
Yeah.
And if somebody says, well, you were stalking her by going to the event, well, this is the fifth time I've
Yeah.
done this event. She was coming into my
Yeah.
territory.
No. No. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying
Yeah.
that. if somebody's telling you that they're saying that, then shame on that person for telling you that. They're no one's. Judy's
I,
probably even put the incident behind her. She probably doesn't even think twice about it.
well, I've
I,
been told I
just go have fun. These are the people from the
yeah.
franchise that you love. Just go have fun. Don't give a fuck what people say.
Oh, I was told that she bought a gun because I was at her place and I'm like, I've never been to California.
See, and these are the people who are telling you these things that personally I would just cut them off.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would tell you these things.
But
What's like fact check wise? What is the validity behind these things that they're telling you? Why would they say something if they can't prove it? And they're probably not able to prove it because the odds of it being true are slim to none. I would don't listen to them.
but
Don't
I
listen to them.
mean,
All everything that happened 6, 7 years ago is it's under the rug now. They're the ones that keep lifting the rug and sweeping it out, and shame on them for that. They're toxic people, and they should. I remember
well,
those toxic people, and I've blocked those toxic people because they're always stirring up shit, and I think that's what they get off on. It's like a sexual toxic game. See how often they can get toxic, and it gets them off. Sorry, but if you have to climax by making someone miserable, then I don't know. Sorry, metaphors. Bad.
I look at it this way. I was that close to her. So if there's any doubt with anybody, like even Judy herself is gonna be like, you know what? He did he was actually pretty pleasant with me, you know. But but it's kind of nice. I like how I can
Yeah,
replace what went on
yeah.
with this, you know, and
And consider this too, and this is probably something that your informants are not taking into consideration. These are celebrities. They see hundreds, if not thousands, of people in these conventions daily, day after day, year after year. The odds, and I'm not saying this to be mean or disrespectful, the odds of her even knowing who you are probably 1 in a billion. She's not, if you walked up, she's like, oh, that's Greg Gilbert. He's going to stalk me. She probably doesn't even know you. And I say this with all due respect. I worked with her on 13 Fanboy. I saw her 3 years later at a convention, and she's like, oh, "What's your name?" And we had a relationship, a working relationship together. So, I mean, someone she's heard about or whatever from people, which I'm telling you right now, that no one's going to her and saying, "Hey, Judy, buy a gun." Like I said, just I would just stop listening to
well, I
these.
guarantee you Kane Hodder probably remembers who you are, especially his balls.
No, his banana gun, his penis gun. Yeah,
Didn't you punch him in the balls?
no, that was the other Jason. I was Bradford. It was West that punched him in the balls.
Oh,
And I think Cotter left West alone after that. I don't think they had any. I mean, they got along obviously, but I don't think they horseplayed that much anymore, if I remember correctly.
but I mean, I had a pretty good time at this
Yeah,
convention, and like I said, I met 22 people. I went and finished my vacation in Toronto, and so yeah, I mean, if Judy happens to be at another con I'm at, I'm not afraid to advertise it.
yeah. Don't
Does
be. Go
doesn't
have
bother
fun.
doesn't it
Yeah, just go
doesn't
have
bother
fun.
me anymore,
No, it
you
shouldn't. And
know.
that's good. That's good.
So I'm happy. This also tells me too that I'm a lot stronger than I gave myself credit for because I was able to do this. But I
Yes, and
did have a
also it
lot.
was and also it was never the problem that it was built to be from before. Like I said, screenshot guy and the people who were stirring your kettle and your pot and stuff like that, they're shitty people. I know the names. Like I said, I'm not gonna name the names. I'm not gonna do that. But if they're watching this, they know that they are shitty people.
But anyway, I had a good time at that, and met Bei Ling from The Crow for the second time. Met her at Chiller, but I'm going to tell you, she made the after party epic because
Yeah.
she was there dancing.
You know who I hear makes an epic after party is Heather Langenkamp. Have you ever been to an after party with her? I hear
Never
she's a
met
party
her.
girl. I hear she's a party girl.
Oh
I've
yeah,
met her, but I have not been to an after party with her. I didn't meet her at a con. I got to I met her. I shared a stage as a presentation to an award show, and Amanda Wiss was there, so I got to share a stage with both of them. And they were there was a place next door with dancing and loud music, and let me tell you what, they were not afraid to use that dance floor. That was such a such a fun watching them dance and being involved with them for that weekend and driving around and singing just the 10 of us theme song. And but I will tell you, Amanda Wiss is probably one of the sweetest, kindest, funniest celebrities that I have ever met. She's like right up at the top of my list of best encounters with celebrities from the horror world. She is absolutely amazing. And she was spunky and she was funny and she was outgoing and she had all these little quirks that just made her just a whirlwind of fun to be around. And I thought
Yeah.
it was gonna be Heather going in. I thought it was gonna be Heather that was gonna be the one that I fell in love with, for being around her and having all this fun and her interactions and stuff. And while Heather was sweet and she taught me what a Tulsa tuxedo is, um, it was Amanda that stole the show from me
Yeah, I
over
enjoy
everyone.
those encounters. I took some video and Biling told me I could put it up of
Yeah.
Biling out in the dance floor and yeah. Alex Vincent was DJing at that too, and she was just everybody was just watching Biling out there on the dance floor. So it was the second time I met her, and both times were extraordinary.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Biling.
And
Yeah.
those are the celebrity encounters that I love. Like Alicia Silverstone with her fan in the wheelchair. Those are the moments that I love. Those are the ones that make waiting in the line worth it and paying those prices for those photo ops or just to get that autograph. Those are the
Hmm.
moments that are worth it.
Yeah. So how many cons did you do this year? I know you did at least one.
I only do one. That's the Motor City Horror Convention. That's the one that I usually do every year. They
Hmm.
usually have a huge, but I was very disappointed in the turnout of celebrities that they had. They had a New Beginning reunion, which was awesome, which is the reason that I went. But they could have had a couple more cast members. I reached out to Tommy Brunswick, who runs it, and I um, did mention to her, "Hey, so and so would go if you want to reach out to them. I have their information. I can put you in touch with them. I know that Ron was going to be there. Melanie was there. Dick was there. Bob's just
DeSimone.
yes, thank you. He was
DeSimone.
there. Yes, D. Simone, and he was a great guy too. But I could have gotten more cast members there just by Tommy saying, "Okay, yeah, what's the contact information?" or give them my contact information. And she didn't. She didn't. She saw it. I got the red receipt, but she never responded. So I felt like, and that was the second year I reached out to her saying, "Hey, I can get so and so if you're interested in this person coming or that person coming," and she never responds. So, and it's a shame too because I knew Tommy personally. I worked with her. My first movie was with her in like 2004. I got to appear in one of her films. So I worked on a professional level once before, but I feel like she's not, and I don't mean any disrespect by saying this. I feel like she's not super serious about the convention. There was such a lack of faces there this year compared to there was last year. I mean, last year you had Kane Hodder, you had these big names, and then this year there were like 15 celebrities. Whereas last year it was probably over 50. It's like where's the other huge percentage that's missing? It's it was a little bit of a letdown, but I did get to see Ron and I did get to see Melanie, and I got to see Dee. So those were like my three big draws to go, and I was very happy with my interactions with them. So it was worth it. It's a
Hmm.
15-minute drive for me, so it's not that big of a deal. But if I had driven like 3 hours to be there, I know a lot of people did, I would have been a little disappointed at the names that they had. When that was on their internet and I was going through it, and I'm like, this can't be it. Where's the rest of them? Maybe they're just not posted yet. But no, that was it. So hopefully Tommy gets her enthusiasm back and hopefully tries to get a bigger list next year.
I usually give a list to Frightmare in the Falls. They usually have about between 40 and 50 guests.
Mhm.
I know I can't prove it, but I think he takes me up on because I always give a list and there's usually one or two that I recommend that end up being there. I remember the year Lisa did it. I had suggested her and I suggested Eileen Dietz from The Exorcist, and she got booked. Um, this year. I suggested Jake the Snake. So I don't know whether it was my suggestion that prompted it, but I was really, if it was, then I'm glad, you know. So I know I made some suggestions for people, but um, if I suggest 10 people, I'll be lucky if one of them, you know, is picked. I remember the year before that, Tracy Savage was one I suggested, and of course uh she was there. So, you know, but there's usually I save up for these, so I make sure that I have money for it. And yeah. So no, I had a good time and I was happy to
Good.
end the Judy thing on a positive note. So
Yeah,
I
that's
like
good.
that photo, I gotta say, you know. So there
Yeah,
you
that's a pretty
go.
smart photo op. Whoever came up with that was pretty brilliant.
Some of them are pretty clever. Some of them are pretty clever. So I enjoy doing that one, and yeah, and I had a lot of people um, that reached out to me saying they were happy that the Judy situation. They were quite surprised. What was your thoughts when you first saw the photo? Me, because I didn't post anything until the con was over, even the videos. I didn't post anything.
Yeah. I think my first thought was cool matching shirts. That was my first thought. I did like the fact that you guys wore matching shirts, and my second thought immediately after was I'm glad that Greg was able to have that moment.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like the way you posted it and just seeing you two together that you had been able to put that behind you and have fun with it for the first time in a long time. So that was nice.
Well, the matching shirts are just totally by accident.
Yeah,
Lucky
that's great. That's
coincidence.
those lucky coincidences are fantastic magical moments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was happy about that. And um, I mean, I haven't forgotten the past, but I don't have I don't have the pissed off energy at her that I did. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of happy about that. So I had a good encounter with her. I was happy about
Good,
that. So
good.
yeah, yeah. But now we're talking about all the convention stuff and all the fun stuff. You got to meet Melanie. I can't believe you got to meet Melanie.
I got to meet Melanie twice. I met her in Chicago the first time a few years ago. I was starstruck, so I was very I'm an introvert person by nature. I'm very shy, so I don't feel like I talked to her as much as I wanted to. Because I was starstruck, it was Melanie Kinnaman, you know. I have very fond memories of part five with my sister, so part five has always been a huge deal for me in the franchise. So I'm very connected to the characters and the actors from part five from early on, from I think it was 12 when it came out. So I didn't say much to her the first time I met her in Chicago, and then the couple years later she had mentioned recently that she was going to be at Motor City, and she said, "Come on over to my table and say what's up, Pam." So that's what I did, and we talked more this time. I got a picture with her and myself and Maverick, my grandson, and that was really cool. So I was able to be a little bit more outgoing with her. So if Melanie, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I wasn't outgoing the first time, but I was starstruck by you, and thank you for the memories with my grandson and the cool recognition of my Pam Roberts get up and not making fun of me for not looking a tenth as good as you or a hundredth as good as you when you wore those clothes. Um, yeah, so that's it. I did get to meet Melanie, and she was absolutely a beautiful person.
Yeah, she's my favorite part of part five.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she's gorgeous. So
she is.
yeah. So hopefully I'll get that opportunity at some
Do you ever
point.
watch? Do you ever watch the videos of Melanie when she's dancing? I
Yeah.
love, yeah, those. I love watching her videos of her dancing.
Yeah.
Very
I got
infectious
a
joy.
couple autographs through the mail
Yeah,
of her when I interviewed her the first time. I've had her on twice. I want to get her on third time on a Zoom, you know, but whenever you get a chance to work something out. But anyway, my background would work perfect for her for her sweater because it could disappear and reappear. And but enough about the conventions. Let's talk about your books because I mean, you. How many books have you done now?
I have four. I want to say I have 5 books out. I have 2 full-length novels. I just finished my third in a trilogy, and I just gave it to my publisher about a week and a half ago. So it is now in the process of the editing phase, and it is due out for publications on Valentine's Day next year. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. You had mentioned the name Bitch. The first I couldn't promote Bitch on Amazon because it violated community guidelines. Just the title alone was, yeah. So I did have to change the title and I did have to republish it. I went through a publisher that was, let's just say I had to file a fraud claim through my bank because of a breach of contract that the publisher did. So it was a big scam, thousands of dollars. Hemingway publishers, I'm just going to say it, avoid them. Um, and then when I confronted them about the scam, they said I was high on drugs and that they were going to get their lawyers after me if I talked about them. So, Hemingway, I'm here. Anyway, so they fucked up my manuscript. It was a mess. I went through a new publisher, had to change the name for promotional purposes. So now Bitch is now officially Monsters in the Woods, and this is the copy here that is available now. I don't know if it's going to be in focus or not. Apologize if it's not.
Yeah, yeah, I could see it perfectly.
Yeah, and it's got character illustrations in the hardcover copy. I'm trying to. These are my 2 main characters here. That's Karen and Jack. So it's a werewolf story. It's a vampire story. It's the end of the world story. It's too much story to tell in one book, so that's why it's a trilogy. And then the
So,
sequel is also out. The second book in the trilogy is called Monsters in the Dark, and that's out now. Also, so
yeah, but
there.
what's the original title? I will hear the
This one,
original.
so this was Bitch. If
Hmm.
you've and read Bitch, do not buy this book unless you want it for the illustrations and just the beautiful formatting. The new publisher did a beautiful job on it. Rosemary Woodlands did a fantastic job. And then this was Son of a Bitch. So if you've already read Son of a Bitch, don't read Monsters in the Dark. It's the same book, unfortunately. Like I said, had to change the title. So now the third book is going to be called Monsters in the Moonlight, was going to be called The Last Stud, but since I had to lose the 2 bitch titles, I lost the stud title as well. So you have Monsters in the Woods, Monsters in the Dark, Monsters in the Moonlight. It's the Pandora Saga trilogy.
Yeah, but what about Dumb Bitch?
It never happened, unfortunately. And that was Jimmy Presley's idea. I have to give credit where credit is due. That was Jimmy Presley, and that was a brilliant suggestion. And it didn't get to come to fruition because the title is the violation of guidelines that couldn't promote it, unfortunately. The prudish world of Amazon is does not allow a word like bitch, which literally means female dog, and it had a werewolf on the front. So it couldn't have been taken out of context. It was a werewolf novel named Bitch, but so I'm a little I'm a little sore about that. But I wouldn't have had these beautiful books if I hadn't changed it and gone through all that. But it's been a very fun journey writing these. I quit doing the Terror Express podcast because I wanted to write these books. It was just too much to do everything all at once. So completing these was a real thrill. It was a goal that I set, and I'm happy I did it. The first book is getting amazing reviews, so I'm very, very happy about that. I can't talk about it, but I have been contacted by um, a company that wants to advance it and take it a little further. And once that is underway, if you want to have me back on, I can discuss that more. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's exciting that this project is moving somewhere, and it's opening up a world of these characters that started in my imagination, dreams even started. Actually, it started. Um, okay, you got me on a passionate subject now. I hope I just don't like word vomit here with the nonstop rambling. But it started with the question um, of what would happen if there was a world of vampires where the vampire was the norm, and there was like 2 or 3 humans that came out in the daytime, and they snuck into these vampires' kids' bedrooms, and they bit the child vampire, and now all of a sudden, because a human bit a vampire, the vampire is going to turn into a human. It was a total flip on the vampire lore. Only I took it and I turned it into the werewolf story instead. So I did change the lore of the werewolf, the lore of the vampire. Everything is unpredictable, upside down, backwards, and shaken up, and it was a fun journey for me. The first book was horror. It was set in horror. I wanted the vampires, the werewolves. I wanted the characters to be 1980s horror. I wanted carnage. I wanted gore. I wanted sex. I wanted very graphic, like like Anne Rice. She's very graphic. If you've read her Sleeping Beauty books, that's who I modeled the writing after. So it is definitely for adults. I did try to do an audio upload onto YouTube. There was a couple chapters that got banned because it was very pornographic. So readers, keep that in mind. If you have a 12-year-old at home, do not let them read these books. This is not Twilight. This is definitely for adults. Um, so the first book is horror related, inspired by 80s horror. The second book is more of a slasher, a slasher horror, and the first one is romance. It's a romantic horror slasher, and then the third one is actually very deeply rooted in um, uh, hang on, I got my notes here because I didn't want to forget any words. The third one is very deeply rooted in Greek mythology. So
Oh,
there's a
nice.
lot of fantasy in the third book. Same characters, same plot, same storyline. It evolves from 1980s horror, small town, one man living his life bored by it to the end of the world is coming, and now all of a sudden there's this big magical event that happens in one of the books that has unleashed all of these characters, and it was really fun. It was really fun to come up with these changes in the lore and come up with these stories. And I mean, so let me name some of these places and some of these characters in these books that the readers are gonna get to become familiar with. All right. So you got the Titanic. There's the Titanic is in the first book. You got the Salem witch trials in the first book. Through the time in this trilogy, you're gonna deal with characters and locations that are tied to the Amityville horror, the house in Amityville. Jack the Ripper is a character in the books. Vlad the Impaler is a character in the books. You've got Medusa. Like I said, it's got a lot of Greek mythology. So you got Medusa.
Well,
You've
one of
got
my
Zeus,
favorite films growing up was the original Clash of the
Clash of the
Titans.
Titans. Yes, there's
Yeah.
a little nod to Clash of the Titans in there.
Hmm.
And then you've got Zeus in there. Of course, you got Pandora and you've got Carissa in there. And so you got the four horsemen in there, kind of a little nod to the apocalypse are in there. And then you got your werewolves, you got your vampires, you've got Bigfoot, you've got witches, genies, dragons, the boogeyman. You've got Pegasus, you've got centaur, fairies, giants, trolls, gremlins, witches, ghosts, zombies, mermaids. You've got unicorns, serial killers, demigods. You've got all of this going around in this three books. And I don't want to spoil it, but the first two books have already been published, and the second book opens up the world with all of these mythical creatures coming into our world, and now it's the hunt for the ability to control the outcome of the second books is pretty much the journey of the third book and where the characters have to go. And then of course death is always a stick in the mud when you're in love and death comes around. So it's something that I can honestly say has never been seen or written before. It's um it's got a lot of comical stuff in it too. I mean, you've got this cat named Michael J. Fox who likes to lick his ass a lot. So when it starts to get heavy and when the gore and the violence starts to get to be too much, I like to insert a little bit of light-hearted comedy, such as Michael J. Fox or a vampire who had Alzheimer's before he was turned into a vampire. So now he's stuck as a vampire bat because he doesn't remember how to become human again because he's stuck with that ability to forget. So that's kind of a little bit of light-hearted humor that I like to inject in there too. So
Yes, but is Jennifer Bonco in it though?
She's not, but actually, when I first wrote the screenplay, which was only like 15, 18 pages long, I had her in mind for Karen. She was my original vision of Karen. And I did
I
speak
don't
with her on the phone for like 3 hours one night, and we had this discussion, and I had asked her, I think I recall asking her if this was ever made into a little short film or something, would you play Karen? And I remember her reaction. I don't know if it's that question, but I remember her reaction to part of our conversation was absolutely, I would love to see your dream come true. And I don't know if it was to her asking her if it was Karen or something else, but I do remember her saying that. So I'm like, that was really cool. So she was my first impression to be the main character, Karen, the main bitch, if you will. But as time evolved, and I don't know why, but Jennifer and I are not friends on Facebook anymore. We've kind of fallen out of touch. I
actually
don't
I
know.
don't I don't think that's anybody's fault because she's not on my friends list anymore either.
I think she may have deleted her account and then came back, and I don't know if she started over, or
Well,
maybe she just liked
she
me and just
used to
deleted me.
she used to post a lot of videos of her with dogs and stuff like that, and these
Yeah.
weird faces she would make. I don't think she unfriended you. I don't think she unfriended me. I because I wanted to see if I could get her on the show, and I can't find her on there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I
I'm
know now you mention it, I haven't seen her in a while either.
yeah. So I don't think she deleted anybody.
I like to
So
think she didn't, but if she did, she did. I mean, what can I do about it? I'm still not Tracy Savage's friend on Facebook either after 3 requests, so I kind of gave up on that too.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know the story there, but I've had Tracy Savage on here 6 times, and I plan to ask her
yeah,
to come on for this Boxing Day. I had a really good I got to meet her for the first time, so that was really
yeah. She's sweet. She's a sweet lady.
yeah. But no, I was happy about that, so I've kind of made it a thing to have her on here on Boxing Day, so that seems to be our day. So, but just reminisce about the year, just chat. But
Yeah,
yeah, but I remember when I met her at Frightmare in the Falls. Um, I was walking over to her and she recognized me instantly, you know, and so I had a good time meeting her and I must have bought 2 or 3 photos off her table because I'm a sucker. But she signed the script for free for me. Um, I forget how much she said they were, but she said I gave her so much business. She said she'd throw in the script for and she said it has all of her notes and all that in it and all that. And
nice, nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I still watch her on Little House on the Prairie.
yeah.
Yeah, she played little Christy
Yeah. So
for
I
2 seasons. But yeah, she was cute on that show.
yeah. So like Melanie Kinnaman with the fifth one, Tracy Savage is my favorite part of the third
Yeah.
one.
Well,
It was
I am a little, I would love to meet more cast members from the third one. I've never met Dana Kimmel. I'd love to meet her. And as I mentioned earlier, Catherine Parks. I have a soft spot in my heart for Vera, and Catherine. So I would love to meet those two. I would like to meet, honestly, I would be thrilled to meet any of the cast members. And I feel like part three, there's been so many deaths from the cast in part three. It's, you know, Richard is somebody I'll never be able to meet, and Gloria is somebody that I'll never be able to meet. And so it's like I feel like meeting the cast members that are alive now, I feel like I need to do it. Larry Zerner would be a great one that I would love to meet as well.
yeah. I never got to meet Ted White in person, but I've been very fortunate. I had him on the show a couple times. Not on a Zoom. His interviews were before that, but I did
Yeah.
get a I got some signed photos from him and a
Mhm.
signed hockey mask. So that was pretty cool. So But I always liked him best as Jason because he was just always so intense, and
He was. He was.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
That scene where he ran after Trish up the stairs, whew, that was intense. I didn't
yeah,
expect him to run, and he ran. So that part scared the shit out of me.
I love that, and because a lot of these movies, I don't find myself being afraid of Jason
Right.
because of how they kind of made him so cartoony.
Mhm.
In the fourth one, I found myself being afraid of Jason because I was like, okay, I am seeing the threat here. And I think a lot of that is what Ted White, not that I'm knocking the other Jason actors,
Yeah.
but Ted White really did it, and uh, I think it's because he really, really took this, not that the others didn't.
Right.
And I think maybe it's part of him, the old Hollywood that he grew up, that he performed with, like with John Wayne and Clark Gable. Like he wasn't sleepwalking through this,
Right.
So yeah. So I generally, if there's a Friday the 13th on the calendar, 9 times out of 10, I'm either going to watch the fourth one or the sixth one. They seem to be my go-to because part
Like,
six has so many iconic things. Like you got a car chase in part six. You
mhm.
got all these references to old monster movies like Jason, like the whole Frankenstein thing, which I
The
thought was
Karloff,
really.
the Karloff, Karloff is mentioned. Isn't that the garage?
Hmm.
That Karloff's garage or something like that. So yeah, you got
Parallel
that
General
Karloff
Store,
reference. Yeah, exactly.
you
Yep.
know, and with the Alice Cooper music in it, which I thought was a nice touch, and
Hmm.
even the old James Bond nod at the beginning of it, I thought was a nice touch. There's a lot of stuff in part six I thought was pretty cool, Um, so I like part six a lot.
I like part six because I find it very visual.
Hmm.
I
I
think we've had this discussion before. It's eye candy. It's very beautiful cinematography in there, and the locations are just stunning. And the way they
I've
lit it, it's beautiful.
I think I've interviewed 9 people, I think, from
Hmm.
part six, 8 or 9 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But part four is another one I really like to watch because I like
My
the look of that one as well. But unlike part six, like part six is fun, scary. With part four, I'm not saying it's not fun, but I find
No,
with
it was very visceral. They kept part four very scary. I
yeah,
think the first four are very terrifying. Part five was terrifying to a point, but it didn't have the punch the first four had. I think because now you've got and I think why it wasn't as scary was just only because the body count was so high, you didn't have time to get to know the characters as well. So
and plus,
it didn't
Demon
impact
does
you
not
as
wipe his ass before he pulls his pants
yeah.
up.
What is it with that? There's so
That
okay,
happened in part three as well.
it did. There's a correlation between part three with Harold not wiping his ass, and then there's the scene where Chuck is in the bathroom in the outhouse and he doesn't wipe his ass, and then you got Demon in part five, and I think the correlation is Martin Catrosser, who wrote the screenplay for both those movies. So Martin obviously has some kind of a fetish with men in outhouses or on the toilet not wiping their asses because he likes to think of these characters walking around just before they get killed with a mud butt. Because why is he writing them?
That'd be an embarrassing way to die. Can you imagine the coroner?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah. But anyway, those are ones I generally watch, I got the box set here, and
yeah.
yep. And I've got a few signatures on some of them. Um I got Sean to sign part one. I got Alan Luter to sign part two, but uh, there's some of them I got quite a few signatures on, so yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Actually, it's funny on my part six. I have not had CJ Graham on here, but I've met him twice. But he signs at 18 kills. Tom Matthews, who I've had on here three times, signs at 1 kill. And I said to Tom, I said, yeah, but didn't Jennifer Cook technically kill him? And he goes, yeah, but I helped her get there. But I'm like, yeah, but who really killed him? And he was like, Jennifer killed him. Anyway, last time I asked TJ Graham, I told him about it, and he said, Tom's just a big pussy, which I thought was funny. Um, but anyway, I got to meet Tom Matthews a couple of times as well, and I really like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never met
But
him. I came close to working with him that one time, but it didn't pan out for me. Didn't pan out for any of the fans, unfortunate.
I've had him on here three times, and I met him at Horrorama 1 year, and I met him at Frightmare in the Falls 1 year. And I tried to tell him, I said, "Do you ever think about, doing something special at your table where you have like these, this little keychain pouch thing, and you open up, you got balls as earrings, you can give out the." I don't think he was sold on that. Yeah, my mind went in a dark place.
That's
But
okay. You're a horror
well,
fan. Our minds are allowed to go to dark places. It's natural.
yeah, well, I remember when I met Tom. I couldn't get. I don't know whether it happened with Tom. It did happen with C.J. Graham. I get Nancy on the speakerphone,
Hmm.
and yeah, when I was in line for them, and I'd say somebody wants to say hello to you. So yeah, so but yeah, what are you doing for Thanksgiving this weekend?
I've been decorating. Today I just did laundry. I was supposed to wrap some gifts, but I never made it to that. I got lazy. I got lazy. What did I watch? Oh my God. I don't even want to tell you what I watched. I don't think after talking about all these horror conventions and
What,
all
My
these,
Little Pony?
I know I was, no, I actually watched The Sound of Music.
Oh, there's no shame in that,
No, there's not. There's not.
There-
There's no shame in that. Who doesn't love Julie Andrews? She's the epitome of perfect. But
Well, she did.
I do enjoy The Sound of Music. I think it's a brilliant movie. It's a beautiful movie, and the message that it sends out is a very warm and loving message. So it's a go-to for me.
Mhm.
I will double feature Friday the 13th Part 3 with The Sound of Music. It's normal. They go great together. Contrast is a beautiful thing. I love contrast in many ways.
Today, I actually have my youngest guest on the show ever.
Yeah.
Had Antonella Rose from Terrifier 3 on.
Oh, nice.
It's
Nice.
13.
Nice.
Well, I met her at Frightmare in the Falls, and she was there. Her mom was working as her handler. And one thing I noticed, she's very professional, and she's homeschooled. And anyway, I got talking to them, and her mom gave me her email address, and yeah, I emailed and just to clarify who I was, sent them a picture of um, me and Antonella uh, at the selfie.
Hmm.
But I had her on earlier today, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
I
but
love part three. That shower scene in part three was bonkers.
of
That was,
Terrifier 3, that was the only Terrifier film we got here.
yeah,
You know, we It's the only one that's come to our theater here in the city. But I've had David Howard Thornton on the show,
yeah.
and I had Michael Levy from the first one on the show.
Mhm.
You know, there and I met At Frightmare in the Falls, I've met Damien Leone, I met David Howard Thornton, and I met the two females from the first film.
Mhm.
Now,
Jenna Canal and Phyllis Rose were actually on the Terror Express when part two came out because
mhm,
it was kind of like a 1 and 2 reunion. So that was cool to have them on.
yeah. Now, two people I would like to meet from Terrifier. I would like to meet Lauren Lavera. I really like Laura Lavera. And I would like to meet the little pale girl because
Yeah,
quite
I want
frankly,
some more backstory on her. She was intriguing.
I
I love
feel
the chemistry between her and Art. It was like that was such fun chemistry that they created. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was fun seeing them together. I like that a lot.
I found her to be scarier looking than Art. And there was something just freaky about that toothy face, the demonic eyes. I'm like, I think I would be less intimidated of Art than I would be the little pale girl.
Yeah.
You know, it's there's just something about that freaky smiley face. But those are two from the Terrifier franchise I would like to meet.
Yeah.
Uh, yep. But anyway, but yeah, no, it's
I want to ask you, would it be okay if I borrowed some footage from this video to make like a promotional video talking about my books?
oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. And I'll
Yeah, go for it.
I'll tag you in them, and of course I'll definitely give you credit,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'll
no,
even share the
it's
link
no
to the full
problem.
video if you want me to. I will
Yeah,
do that.
go for it. I have no issue
Appreciate
with
it.
that.
I
Yep.
appreciate you had mentioned when we were talking about Jason Lives about the Karloff um, reference. I did want to mention that my influence in these books is so much horror, and I give a lot of loving nods to a lot of the things that I fell in love with. So there's like nods to Anne Rice, there's nods to the horror world, all these movies that people love. They are definitely a big part of these books. Inspirations, just Easter eggs throughout the books. One example is a human, falls in love with the werewolf. And I don't want to give too many spoilers with the first book storyline, but this is pretty early on and it's pretty expected. So he meets this werewolf and he decides to take the werewolf to the movies on a date. So, I mean, there's a little bit of silliness to it. It's very far-fetched, but he takes her to see The Howling. It just happens to be showing. So, you got this human taking a werewolf into a movie theater to see The Howling on a big screen, and the werewolf is watching this. Now, mind you, Karen, the main werewolf, she's described as a nightmare or from a 1980s horror film, how they made werewolves scary back then. So she's described as being nightmarish. She's ugly. She's terrifying. She's got big jaws and saliva dripping teeth. So picture this big beastly werewolf in a movie theater watching The Howling on the big screen. What would her reaction be to that? Is werewolf representation accurate or is it not? Is she going to be offended or is she going to like this movie? So that's kind of the humor in the first book, and I won't say what her reaction is to watching The Howling, but she does learn a lesson from it, and she uses it later on in the movie when she's protecting her human. That's
Hmm.
all I'll say. But it was fun. It was a fun little play in the love of horror, and also very happy to announce the first book is being made into an audio, so it'll be available on audio. I don't know when, but soon. We're casting the reader right now. So there's not obviously a lot of your listeners probably know when you're making an audio for like Amazon or Kindle, AI is not allowed. I would not allow any AI anyways. None of the
Jennifer
book,
Bongo.
none of the book written. She would have a nice voice, but none of the book was written with AI. The covers are actually hand drawn by a brilliant. My publisher is a brilliant artist, he did this by hand. He drew all this by hand. Even the font is made by hand. I wish you could see it a little more
I,
clear,
I
but
I could see it perfectly.
that is actually, and this book too. This is all actually hand drawn that he did, and it's brilliant. That's actually one of the characters, the 9-year old. Sorry, it's backwards. The 9-year old character, and that's the boogeyman in her closet. So that's what this one is, but hand drawn, no AI. So the audio, it's only fitting that the audio, and it's I mean it's the rule. There can be no AI. I wouldn't allow it even if it was an option. So when my publisher says, "What kind of voice do you want?" I said, "Well, the main character is a female werewolf. She's like this big, strong character. I want, but I want sexy." So I said, "Can you find somebody with a voice that's between Melanie Griffith and Lucy Lawless, who played Xena?" So that's that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a voice that's soft
Wow.
and sexy like Melanie Griffith. I don't know if you know who she is.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you do. To me, she's got the epitome of a sexy voice. I think she's very
She's a body
sensual.
double.
Yes. Working Girl is one of my favorite movies
Yep.
with her in. But and then I want it to be powerful. I want it to convey this power. So I thought, oh, Xena would be a great. So Lucy Lawless would be great. But Sydney Sweeney is actually who I envision
I
Karen
love
looking.
Sydney.
Yes, I do too. That's who I envision Karen, the main character, would look like her when I was writing, because she's got these eyes that look like she could have been a werewolf turned human. She's got this animalistic beauty about her. So I thought she would be perfect. So she was my muse for writing that character. But all of the characters in these books, most of these characters in these books were named after actors or characters from iconic horror films. I mean, you've got Boris. Karen is actually named after D. Wallace's character in The Howling. I don't want people to think, oh, she's a bitch, so he named her Karen. She was named way before the whole Karen phase came about, so it had no nod to her being a Karen. Uh, this first screenplay was written long before Karen was a thing, so she was named after that. The leading man, Jack, was named after David's friend in American Werewolf in London, who doesn't make it very far into the movie outside of being a corpse. So there's also a David in there, and there's a Boris in there. There's an Elsa named from the Bride of Frankenstein, the actress who played her. So a lot of characters are named after these movies that we grew up loving, and lots of loving nods to these movies and franchises. And obviously, there's a mention of Friday the 13th in one of them, um, just before a very graphic, bloody scene. Obviously, campers in the woods. You're gonna want to know where Jason is, right? So it's got a lot of those elements in it. The fog. There's a lot of um, references to movies from John Carpenter in these books. If you are a fan of his work, there's a lot of gothic beauty in them. There's just straight out, like I said, there's slashers and serial killers, and there's twists and turns and plot twists, and the character arcs were just amazing to
It kind
write.
of reminds me of Ready Player One.
Oh yeah, that was a fun movie. Yeah, that had everything in it.
Exactly. Well, you're like describing the horror version of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a compliment. I take that as a huge compliment. Thank you.
That is a compliment. Ready Player One was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a very fun film. Jason actually was in there too. Did you catch Jason Voorhees in that movie?
I saw it once and I didn't catch all the I'd have to see it again. I do know that originally they wanted to use Blade Runner in that big section in the movie and they couldn't get the rights, so that's why they used The Shining.
Hmm.
Originally that it was supposed to be Blade Runner and
Yeah.
but I loved all the references that I did catch in it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun film, and hopefully the readers who read these books will catch the references and love it and love the characters and their journey that they go on and the conflicts that they have to work toward. And there's loss in those books. The editor that I worked with in the very very first book, early on, made a point to me. She says you can't have all of your main characters survive. It won't be as impactful. So there was there was some hard writing involved. I did let one of my coworkers read the books, and she was crying over a spider. There's a spider that is a character in the book. It's a blue tarantula named Green. Obviously, because the bat, one of the characters, the vampire bat, he can't see very well at certain times. Because he's he's sonar, so he makes a reference and says that the spider is blue, and they said no, or green. He calls the spider green, and they said no, the spider is blue, and well, it smells like green, so that's what he calls them. And they become best friends. So you got a bat and a spider who become best friends, and they sleep in a bird nest together because the bat also has vertigo. Alzheimer's and vertigo, he can't hang upside down, so he's got to sleep in a bird's nest. So it's wonky on purpose in some parts. So hopefully that will also be enjoyable. I'm hoping you finish reading it. I would love to know what you think.
Yeah, I haven't stopped reading it. It's just,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
the second book I think was better than the first. I learned a lot writing it.
Hmm.
It's cleaner. It carries through better. But the third book is I did a lot of research for the third book because when you're writing about Vlad the Impaler or you're writing about a little town in England in the 1700s, or you're writing about and Lizzie Borden. I wrote an entire chapter. Lizzie Borden was going to be a character in the book, so I had to research Lizzie Borden and Jack the Ripper and the way they carried themselves in those times and the things that happened in those times, the way they dressed, the way they spoke, actual historical events, the characters. All those things had to be researched and recreated and given nuance and credibility. So there's a lot of dialect changes in the third book, and there's a lot of internal thought process in the third book instead of written or spoken word. So that was a huge challenge. I was very naive, thinking I'm going to take a week off work and finish this book. And I had like 12 chapters left to write. I thought I can write 12 chapters in a week. I can just whiz through it, not sleep, live off coffee. I think I wrote 2 chapters because I spent the entire week researching. And let me tell you what, don't ever write about Vlad the Impaler because he's a pain in the ass. He, his dialect, his dialect was very difficult to write. Again, it is all my conversation. It is all my writing. There is nothing fake in this book. It's not AI, nothing generated from AI. So it took me a very long time to get the words the way they needed to be and the outcome and the payoff and everything like that. It was a long process, and I will never write another period book again. Fuck that. It was hard. It was hard. I'm proud of it. It turned out really well, and it's something that I can say I did, but I will never do it again. No, I will never do that again. Mm-mm.
So what are you looking for Christmas this year?
An electric blanket with a timer on it. I found out that the electric blanket that I have now, it has a 10-hour automatic shut off on it, but no timer. I get sicker than a dog. Like I'll go to bed on a Friday and I'll be in bed all weekend because I'm throwing up, because I have a fever, because I'm dizzy, because I'll have vertigo attacks. And I found out that electric blankets, if you sleep with them, they can lower your blood pressure and raise your body heat to the point to where you can trigger vertigo, which I have. So I get a 48-hour um, case of vertigo with the electric blanket. However, if I had one that shut off after an hour, which I know I could warm my bed and turn it off, but I like to fall asleep with it on. But so that's what I'm hoping for this year for Christmas is an electric blanket with a timer on it. And if I don't get one, I'll just buy one. But that and I would love a Fandango gift card for $100.
There you go. There you
I would
go.
rather have somebody else buy my Tuesday new releases for a few weeks. That would be pretty cool. So I don't. I'm more of a gift buyer than a gift wanter. But a movie and a blanket. That would be perfect for me.
There you go. There you go. Anything else you got to promote that you want to talk about? You seem to have a lot of ideas.
I do have some more ideas coming on. I'm stepping away from the horror genre. I have a book planned, and I talked to you about this. The working title could change, but right now I'm calling it "I'm Sorry If I Killed You." A true story experience that I had as a caregiver. My best friend, whom I was very close to, he was beyond family to me. got sick. He had health problems. He was on hospice, and he came home and lived with me, and I took care of him as a caregiver. And of course, I remained like family to him. And I lost him on October 18th. And looking back now, I feel like there are things that I could have maybe done differently, even though I was guided from hospice and I did everything. I was trained to do medications. I was trained with morphine and all these things and um, cleaning, bathing, all medications, all this stuff. But when it ultimately came time for him to leave us, I feel like there could have been a couple things that I could have done that maybe he would still be here. So that grief and that guilt is very palpable. It's very strong. It's not something that is healthy to live with. So I am looking into ways of, I know that hospice does offer some options, therapy options. So I want to write a book about that because I don't feel like caregiver grief is something that's touched on very much, and there's options out there. So I thought a beautiful story between two loving people who face this horrific outcome, and you know it's coming. Kind of like Beaches, Terms of Endearment, Steel Magnolias kind of vibe. So it'd be a total departure from the Pandora saga. And then I have another one that I want to write called Lilith. I don't know if I told you about that one or not. So I have this thing in my head where Pamela Voorhees, a backstory, right? It starts out with her as a little girl and what she goes through, like her abuse through her father, her later abducted from a kidnapper, and she was that Munchausen syndrome where the abductor falls in love with or the captive falls in love with the abductor,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. And then there's her plight, and then her rape, and then her pregnancy with Jason, and then her getting a job as a cook, and then eventually, with the summer camp, and there's all these twists and things. And I know I can't write it as a Friday the 13th prequel. So that's why it's called Lilith. I have to change names, I have to change locations, I have to have absolutely nothing with the Friday the 13th story in it because I can't use anything licensed or copyrighted. Everything has to be original, right? So I'm writing it in a way that where the reader can say, okay, this sounds familiar. Is this what I think it could be? But I can't say yes, it is in the book. But if you were to take the characters and put Lilith in Pam's situation, and her son is in Jason's situation, and the affair with the other baby, which would be, Jason goes to hell, you got Diana, and that would be written into that. So you're getting all these elements where it would actually be a prequel to Friday the 13th, but it wouldn't be presented as that because, like I said, I don't have copyrights. I can't infringe on any of that stuff. So legally, I have to change everything. But I want to write it in a way that it would tell Pamela's story through through different characters.
What do you
Those
think
are
of the TV show that's supposed to be coming out?
I can't wait to see it. I know Adrienne King had posted that she's a part of it. And then it got on hiatus. I'm hoping she's still a part of it. I know that the writer's strike had put it on the back burner for a while. I think she's still a part of it. I hear that she's playing Alice. I don't know um, if that's accurate or not. I think whatever she does, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see it. I know that it is back in production. It is going to be released. There was talk that it was canceled, so that's good. That's going to at least put some movement back into the franchise that we fell in love with when we were 10, 12 years old. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Very excited about that.
Well, there's definitely, I know Vincent DeSante had a lot of ideas in terms of some of the plot holes that are in these movies, that I don't understand why they don't let him tackle one of these movies, but
Yeah.
I know Tom
I think he's
McLaughlin.
brilliant. I love Vinny. Vinny is absolutely any Friday the 13th project is in good hands that he's attached to.
I know Tom McLaughlin had a script all ready to go, set in the wintertime.
Uh,
Yep. And all female cast. Okay. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing Tom McLaughlin do another one.
yeah.
But yeah. No, I don't have television. I just have my Blu-rays set up I can play. So
Hmm.
I won't see the TV show unless they come out and bring it out on disc or whatever. But I wish them luck with it and hope it pans out. But I hope that they stay true to it. Like I don't want them to modernize it, I want that, um because I friggin' hate it when they do that. Like I don't want to see people run around with cell phones and stuff like that. Let's stick to the basics of what it was. Jason was born in 46, drowned in 57, and fill in these gaps there, that backstory stuff, and have some fun with it.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I'd like to see happen. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
me too.
yeah. You have anything else you want to plug and promote before we close off?
Nothing else I can think of. I do have like six little novellas planned from the Pandora saga. These characters here that I've written and fall in love with are going to each
Hmm.
have a little novella each dedicated to them. There's some storylines that I started in the books that I don't give closure for. I did that on purpose because they are going to get each a little spin-off novella. And that, by novella, I mean like maybe 120, less than 200 pages, something that you could read in just a few hours. Um, I do have quite a few of those. I will tell you, this is like I said, this is the boogeyman in the front
Hmm.
in the closet there.
Hmm.
And the question is, where does the boogeyman take the bad children? Because he goes through the closets under the bed and he takes the bad children away. Where does he take them? Well, it's asked a couple times in the books, but I never give the answer. And I'm gonna write a book, which would have been Little Bitch, but I can't call it Little Bitch now. So I think I'm going to call it Little Darling or something like that instead. But that novella is where you're going to find out where the bad kids go.
Probably to a movie theater that's playing Oogie Loves and the Big Balloon Adventure. That that would
There's a
that
movie
would
theater. There is a movie theater in the second book too. Yeah, it's actually in all three books. It's one of the locations in the books. It's called the Majestic. And the storyline takes place. I don't actually give you a place where it takes place in the first book because I want it to
Mhm.
be the reader's imagination where it could be in their own backyard. So it's like you're reading the book, it never discloses a location. It's not till the second book when it's disclosed where it takes place, and it does take place in. I still won't say the city, but it takes place in Michigan. There's a lot of beauty in Michigan and a lot of forest and it's just. I live in Michigan. It's a beautiful place. I'm lucky. There's a line in Meet Me in St. Louis. Wasn't I lucky to be born in my favorite city? Was I lucky to be born in my favorite state? So yeah, I was. So I had to incorporate Michigan into these books.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? It was wonderful having you come back on here. Your fifth solo on here.
I'm a survivor.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I had a few fibers this year, and yeah, I'm looking forward. I'll put you on the roster for next year, and we'll get further
Sounds good.
developments. And
What's the most times any one person has been on solo?
Scotty McCoy's been on 9.
9. Okay, so I'm a little over halfway there.
Now, Jeffrey Mark has been on more than Scotty, but Jeffrey Mark, here's how I kind of divide it. Like Jeffrey Mark's been on 6 times talking about his own career, but he's also been on doing tributes because he knows a lot of people in show business, like Lucille Ball,
Mm,
Estelle Fitzgerald, um, Mary Tyler Moore, Steve Allen, Don Wells, Milton Berle, knew all these people. So we were doing tribute interviews, and I
nice.
kind of look at them separate. I kind of
Yeah, yeah,
highlight the person being tributed.
right.
And he also interviewed me on my 50th birthday. So there's kind of a 3 slot thing there going on. Because since my 50th birthday, I've had people interview me. Not that of any importance, but it's kind of something I've been doing since my 50th. So he interviewed, I knew he'd be the perfect one to interview me on my 50th. So he's been on more than Scotty, but uh, through the separate things, you know. Um, but interviewed me on my 50th. Nancy McLaughlin interviewed me on my 51st. Rob Mahoney on my 52nd. And this year it was my friend, the Creepy Ghoul out of Toronto. And so it's kind of something I just started doing. I don't know. But but yeah, I can't I'm surprised I made it to 53. Like here's to 54.
Yeah, I'm coming up on it. I'll be that's next year. That's my number. I know, it's funny when Back to the Future came out and they go to 1955, for some reason that number has always been in my head. And I remember watching Back to the Future when it came out. I was 13 years
Mhm.
old. For some reason, 55 has always been in my head, and it's always become the age that I fear for some reason. Not fear being 55, but fear not reaching 55. So I thank Back to the Future for keeping 55 in my head. So I'm almost there if I can go without being mauled to death or falling down an elevator shaft or an open manhole. I think I'll be okay.
Well, it's funny, here we are in 2025 and we aren't flying around on hoverboards and flying in the sky in cars.
That's okay because I would fall off the hoverboard into an open manhole. So I'm safer without those.
Yep. Yep. So it was interesting back in the day, they make these predictions, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like with 2019, Blade Runner did not quite happen.
Right. Well, that's a good thing though.
Didn't quite happen. What was
Mm-mm.
the other one? Escape from New York, 1997. They didn't wall off anything, and yeah, they're gonna have to like really push it past when we'll be alive, so that we don't really know.
Right.
Yeah,
Like 500 years into the future or something like that.
there you go.
Of
That
course,
works.
unless they keep the movie protected under, like, was it the Library of Congress where they A Nightmare on Elm Street was recently added to that a couple of years ago. So in 500 years, according to theory, that movie will still be around. So they could still compare it and say, hey, that never happened. We have hoverboards. We have idiots falling off them into open elevator shafts, but we don't have, all the other stuff that we were promised.
Now I wonder, did they just preserve A Nightmare on Elm Street? Did they preserve the whole series or what?
No, just the original. They reserved the original. I feel like they did a couple Alfred Hitchcock films. I think Psycho and the Birds was also preserved, but I definitely know Nightmare on Elm Street was because that was a huge deal for me because I'm such a fan of the franchise. So when I found out they reserved it, I was very, very happy about that. And I seem like I remember reaching out to Heather and congratulating her on that because, that's got to be huge for her too. Can you imagine being a part of something that will now live forever? People will always be able to see Heather's work or Robert's work or Amanda's work or Ronnie's work or John's work. All the cast of the original Nightmare on Elm Street is now going to live forever, and that's got to be huge. It's got to be such a feeling, an accomplishment.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
But I'm only going to live for as long as people want to go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble and get these books. Look for the link. I'll share the link if they're available now. And like I said, audio is coming soon for the first book. It'll be for all three books, but the first one is actually going to be worked on very soon.
There you go. Well, you got a web page or anything else where people
I
can,
do. I do.
yeah,
You
plug
can
that.
you can email me. You can email me at pandorasmonsters@yahoo.com, or you can go to pandorasmonsters.com or pandorasmonsters@yahoo.com is my email, or you can just go to pandorasmonsters.com is the website with links to buy the books, and you get to know the characters and storylines and stuff like that. So,
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? It was wonderful having you come on here tonight,
yeah.
and Yeah.
Had a
Happy
good time.
Thanksgiving to you. You go have a big turkey
You?
tomorrow.
I have been eating turkey for 3 fucking days. I'm done with turkey. You can't smother it with enough. You can't smother it with enough gravy or cranberry sauce anymore. It's I'm done. I'm done with it. The 3 days is my cutoff. I'm done with it. Mm-mm.
How about some of Ma's slop?
If slop over turkey, okay. That turkey has become slop.
There
I'd
you
rather
go.
have pizza. I don't like turkey. I'm not a fan of turkey anyways.
Oh
I don't
no,
like I don't like pumpkin pie or any I don't like the texture of that. It's gross. I would rather have pizza or lasagna on Thanksgiving. It's to me it's just about being
you
thankful
know
and being
what? I'm on with that. I'd much
yeah.
rather have
Yeah.
pizza and
Pardon the
lasagna as
turkey.
well.
Yeah, save the turkey, eat a pepperoni roll. Just stick some cheese and bread and sauce under it and you're good to go. But
I'm
no turkey.
game for that. I'm game for that. Sure. Why not? Why
How
not?
about you? How was your Thanksgiving? What are your holiday plans? Anything good?
Well, our Thanksgiving was in October, but I do remember sleeping through it, which
Yeah.
is probably what I'm going to do at Christmas time,
All those enzymes from the turkey, I forget what they call it, tryptophan or something like that. Turkey actually has an actual property or enzyme in it that makes you tired and sleepy. That's why so many people sleep during the football game.
I I find now between like I'm either working or sleeping, then I have moments like this, but I'm usually working or sleeping. And
Yeah.
Skittles is sleeping most of the time, but when I'm sleeping, that's when he likes to be up.
Right.
I know because he'll climb up on top of me and
hmm
walk right up and stare me in the face.
I have 3 cats. One of them likes to walk up on my chest and act like she's gonna lay down and then spin like she wants to put her ass in my face every time. And I won't allow it. So if she starts to spin to lay down, I keep pushing her so that she's back to face with me because I'm not a big fan of cat asses in my
No,
face. It's not gonna happen. But for some reason, she's very persistent about it. And someone says it's a compliment. Okay, well, go compliment the other guy. You're on my lap. That's compliment enough. I don't need the ass in the face.
I avoid the ass face thing because with Skittles does not scratch or bite, he's easy to handle. But a
Yeah.
lot of times when I pat him, like I'll put my hand on his tail,
hmm
because I can touch Skittles' tail. Some people say cats don't like that. Skittles don't care. Not with
Yeah.
me anyway. So that kind of keeps the ass away from me.
My 2 male cats don't mind if you touch their tail, but my female doesn't like it. She
No.
don't. She won't get violent or anything, but she lets you know she doesn't like it. But I'm like, just try to put your ass in my face. I'm gonna touch your tail. If you're gonna do something to me I don't like, I'm gonna revenge and I'm gonna do something you don't like. So let me touch the tail.
Hmm.
hmm
But yeah, but yeah, Skittles will do that, and he'd be like, "Are you awake yet? You awake yet? Yeah, I'm awake. It's not time for me to get up yet." Yeah. So anyway, and then I get home from work and he has not cleaned up anything. So over there washing himself right now, like,
Yeah, of course. I actually the Michael J. Fox in the books. I have a character named Michael J. Fox. It's a cat. Again, it's a reference to Teen Wolf. He was in a werewolf movie, so I had to do the link somehow, right? So there's a cat named Michael J. Fox, and he's got some pretty fun quirks too. And licking his anus feverishly is one of them because that's what cats do. So the cat is based after my cats, and the characteristics of it are after my cats, and all the silly shenanigans that they do. And the werewolves are based after my dogs. I have a pit bull and a German Shepherd, and I had a French bulldog pug and a Shar Pei. Very goofy animals. So the werewolves are actually very canine in these books, and they have very goofy things that they like to do that you've never seen a werewolf do before. I made them very dog-like, just based off of watching my dogs in the backyard and the things that they do. So, um, and you know, they were my inspirations, and I do give them a little thank you at the end of the last book. You'll see pictures of my actual dogs that Karen and Jack and Tyler and the pack are based on. Yeah, they're goofy. They're goofy animals. So my characters are goofy and scary. It's a fun mix.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? I bid you a happy Thanksgiving, and of
I
course,
got you.
Christmas is coming up as well. Is there any traditional Christmas movies that you watch?
Well, like I said, when I put up my Christmas tree, Jason Takes Manhattan is on. I've watched Trains, Planes, and Automobiles on Thursday on Thanksgiving.
That's
Uh,
a great one.
that's a great one. I feel like that
Mhm.
one should be watched on Thanksgiving. I watch A Christmas Story. I watch Scrooge, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I don't discriminate between family or horror films when it's time for the holidays. Just whatever the mood strikes. So I'll watch Ralphie and Linnea Quigley back to back, and it's another one of those great contrasting double features that are just great. And then I'll watch something like Charlie Brown Christmas. Yeah, I'm good with whatever Christmas movies or cartoons come along. I'm a kid at heart. I love them all.
Y- Yeah, my highlight horror film for Christmas is I like to watch it on Christmas Eve is the original Black Christmas. You know?
Yes, that's a great movie. Yes.
Yeah. I like Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2 back to back. I know the second one is so
I couldn't get into the second one. I feel like half of it was just a rehash of the first movie. And then you
yeah.
get 30 minutes of new material. It's like
Well,
I
I like
don't
the fact that Ricky is out to avenge his brother and goes after
yeah.
Mother Superior. I kind of like that deal. I've had Eric Freeman on here because I met him at Chiller. So I had a great chat with him, but I usually will watch those two back to back. Christmas Evil's another one, a horror movie, one I like to watch.
Gremlins is a good
Gremlins.
one. A lot of people forget Gremlins. It's a fun movie.
Gremlins is one
Did,
I watch.
did you see the little statue that they have? I think it was a joke, but there's a little statue that they have of um Kate. Is that her name? Katie Phoebe
Phoebe
Cates'
Cates?
character. What's her character's name in Gremlins? I totally forgot. Um
I don't remember.
Anyway, Phoebe Cates' character. Remember that monologue, that dramatic monologue she gives about
Yep.
Dad Santa Claus with a load of presents slipping and falling, and they found him in the fireplace weeks later. So
Hmm.
there's a little action figure of her dad, and he's a rotted, smelly, burnt Santa Claus with a bent neck. It's it's hilarious. I would love if that was real. I don't think it is, but if it was, I would own it.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And for other Christmas movies, I like Christmas Vacation. I like Bad Santa a
I've
lot.
yet to watch that all the way through. I hate to admit it, but I
I
have yet to watch it
love
all the way
Bad
through.
Santa. Yeah, Bad
Yeah.
Santa. I saw it in the theater. It's one of my favorites.
It's a Wonderful Life is something that I'd never watched all the way through until recently. Like 3 years ago, I finally watched it, and I've watched it every
Love
year.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I do too. Meet Me in St. Louis. I know I mentioned
Hmm.
that a few minutes ago. That's another. I watched that at Christmas and Halloween because it's got like this 40-minute Halloween block. It's just absolutely, it's the magic of Halloween captured in like a 40-minute block, and then it becomes a Christmas movie. So it's that one that I enjoy watching as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of movies like that. Noah Barry, Harold and Kumar Christmas, Office Christmas Party, The Night Before,
Yep.
very juvenile, but I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are ones. And I've ordered Terrifier 3, which I'll put on the Christmas watch list. And Secret Santa. I guess Secret Santa was great too. Adam Marcus's movie.
Yeah, that was fun. I like the characters in Secret Santa. They were all the review I left was something along the lines of each character was like a cracked bulb,
Hmm.
and each one got to be front and center and to shine on the tree of which is the movie. And we get to enjoy each character and all the cracks and all their eccentricities that Adam made with them. They were fun. It was a fun movie. Deborah Sullivan was fantastic in that.
That's where I called her the Cackle Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I always think of the word eloquent when I talk about Deborah Sullivan. She's truly a very eloquent woman. Probably the only true eloquent woman I've ever met. My
I
first impression.
love Deborah Sullivan.
I do too.
Yeah, love Deborah Sullivan. I had her and Adam on this year talking about Hearts of Darkness. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I
the
really look forward to having Hearts of Darkness in my hands. I can't wait to watch it. I was told years ago when they started this, I sent Adam some photo recreations that I did. I do Friday the 13th recreations through
Mhm.
photography, little photoshopping and stuff like that. But most of it's prosthetic makeup that I used to recreate. I redid the scene where the doctor at the beginning in the morgue with the heart is eating the heart. I recreated that with my friend that just passed away in October. And I sent them to Adam, and he loved them. He says, "I'm gonna put this in my documentary." So we'll see. We'll see. I never talked to him about it again. I don't know if they're actually gonna be in it or not. It'll be cool if they are, but we'll see. Hopefully they are.
Another one I like to watch at Christmas time too is Eyes Wide Shut.
Never seen it. I know I didn't know it was a Christmas movie.
Well, it was released in July when it came out, but I mean, it's set at Christmas time,
Hmm.
and it is clearly the part of the movie is set at Christmas. But I love Eyes Wide Shut, so yeah, it's Kubrick's last movie, and yeah,
Hmm.
it's Christmas. This is the backdrop of the movie is Christmas, so.
Yeah, kind of like Die Hard. To me, is a
Well,
Christmas
a
movie.
lot of people will say, they'll argue if Die Hard's a Christmas movie, and I'm like,
It is. It is. It's a
yeah,
Christmas
and
movie.
I'm like, I don't hear people mention that about Eyes Wide Shut, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut is like, you can't miss Christmas in it. Is
Right.
there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Trading Places is another one. I do watch Trading Places a lot. That's
Hmm.
a fun one. Maybe a lot of people don't consider it a Christmas movie, but to me, if a movie takes place at Christmas time, it can qualify as a Christmas movie, or at least a movie to watch during the holidays. So
Hmm.
Trading Places is another one that I like a lot. Seeing Dan Aykroyd hit rock bottom as a drunk Santa is probably comedy gold. It's fantastic. And then the dollar at the end when Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd put the two rich men into the poorhouse, and then they give the dollar that they won on the bet as revenge was probably one of the best in your face moments to a character that deserves something in their face. So Trading Places for me is great. Plus you got Jamie Lee Curtis. How can you not love a movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, you know?
Hmm. Yep, there you go. So those are ones that I watch at Christmas time. So
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I just had Chris Peck over, who was the director of Better Watch Out, on here
That was a fun movie. I like that
recently.
one a lot. Yeah.
Oh my, the
Yeah.
stuff I learned about the making of that movie, and yeah, that was interesting because I was telling him, I said, when I was that young, I was into Star Wars and Masters of the Universe and stuff like that. I never thought about my babysitters,
Hmm.
but so I had a very different experience than that, but I'm like, but you see a lot of like uh babysitters sexualized in movies and this and that, and I'm like, it's not something I caught on to until I was older, but
Right.
I never got into girls until I was in like high school, like I don't know, like I guess people are growing up so fast nowadays, but like growing up, like I was into guy things, I never paid attention to girls growing up. So when I see um Better Watch Out, I'm like, Olivia DeJonge is so beautiful in this movie, and I'm like, I can say that, but at the same token, I bet you at that age, I probably wouldn't have paid her any heed. I probably wouldn't have, because I know what I was like at that age, so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was wonderful having you come on tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back on.
And like I said, if you want to use footage for this to advertise but go right ahead. You have my full permission to do so.
Hey, thank
Um,
you very much.
yep. And I'll certainly tag you in it when it's ready. Um, yours is one of three I got this weekend, so I'm going to schedule them. Um, for when they're released because I'm kind of caught up to my releases now, but I want to give them some breather room. So,
Okay.
and Janella's going to go up public tomorrow, and then yours will go up a few days after, and then the one I have tomorrow, a few days after that. So, yeah,
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
yeah, no problem, no problem. Anything else before we close off?
No, I think that's it. I covered everything. Nothing I could think of. I suppose if I do think of something else, it would be next year when you have me on for my sixth solo.
You go call Jennifer Bonko up and ask her if her refrigerator's running.
No, probably tell me I would lose the refrigerator like I lost her in New Mexico at 3 in the morning.
I remember telling Lar Park Lincoln the story you told about the joke that her father had played on Jennifer
Mhm.
with the rap on the toilet.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Lars said, if somebody had done that to me, they would be in big trouble.
and that would have been somebody who did it to her because that's my sense of humor. So I would have been in big trouble.
I was talking to Lar about that on that Zoom I had her on, and when I was relating your stories about Jennifer and her dad, and she goes, "Yeah, I've been in that back seat before." Yeah, yeah, Lar, yeah, she had some thoughts.
Yeah, she was great. I didn't, and I think I told you this I think it was on my first episode with you. When I first saw Lar for the first time, I didn't know that was Lar that I was seeing, and I was talking to her thinking she was uh, an employee of the hotel. I didn't even recognize her. It was her glasses were covering her
Mhm.
eyes, so I couldn't see those blues that she has or that she had. So I didn't even realize it didn't even look like Tina Shepard. That's where I knew her from. We're from House 2. So to me, it was an employee, and she says, and she asked me, she goes, "Oh, are you one of my guys?" And I thought she was looking over us bringing the equipment into the hotel so that we didn't get anything damaged or anything. And I said, "Yeah, I'm one of your guys." So I was talking to her, and then when I realized she was standing behind me a few minutes later, and I had realized who it was at that point, I was talking to one of the other crew members, and I said, my biggest fear was saying or doing something really stupid in front of the talent. I said, and it happened. I did the stupid thing with Lar Park Lincoln, and he kind of looked like that behind me. I'm like, she's behind me, isn't she? And he went. So I turned around and she was standing there looking down at me, kind of smiling and laughing because I had made a fool of myself, and she thought it was cute. I guess cute is the word that comes to mind, but she was adorable. She was adorable about it. She was very fun to be around. She was so outgoing. She was just a light. She was.
I was happy to have her on here. I wish I could have got that third, and I wish I could have met her in person. I didn't realize I did not have an autograph of hers. I, funny that never happened. I've got so many autographs. It's like I go through and there's autographs I forgot I had.
Yeah.
So, because I like to do the autograph circuit when I go to the convention. So,
Right.
but I'm glad I had her on the show. I still haven't deleted her number off my phone because of like the text messages and stuff. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah. So no, she was wonderful.
Yeah,
And
she was.
she was very friendly to me. I remember one thing I remember about Lara because you didn't see her a lot online, but I remember when Dad passed, Lara had reached out to me, and it was so unexpected and so sudden. But I remembered that. I was like, because she said that she lost her parents when she was young, and I thought that was cool that she had reached out to me, and you know, and Lara was wonderful. But yeah, I felt so bad when she had passed. And I think she
Yeah.
was the first of the final girls from Friday the 13th to pass.
Yeah. It was hard when I found out too. I went to Paul and Rick who live with me, and they were both involved with the making of Fanboy with her, and so they knew her. And so it was hard when I found out and they didn't know, and I had to tell them, and I made the mistake of not telling them together, so I had to say it out loud twice. So it was my recommendation is if you have to break that news to more than one person, try and do it with them together because it's hard getting it out twice. It was shock and sadness and denial. I think, she was young and she was Lar, you know, and it was not an easy moment that I had to relay that to them because it never is an easy moment to relay that to someone.
I hope her kids are doing all right,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you one thing though. I said to her, I said, because I had never met her in person, but I said, do you ever, have anybody come up to your table and you have photo on Facebook, so I had to rib her on this. I said, "Do you ever have anybody bring the photo of you laying on the floor with a Christmas tree on top of you if your kid's laughing at you?" You ever see that picture?
I did not know.
Well, there was a picture she had online, and it's like she's at the bottom of this attic ladders up, and the Christmas trees on top of her. Her kids are laughing at her. And
Do you have access to that photo? My favorite with her was the Nutella video that she did, where she had the empty Nutella container and she was pretty much like French kissing the entire inside with like this this tongue that would it reminded me of like a dog trying to get into somewhere tight, small and
Mhm.
tight to get the food
Yeah,
out of it. She was just so obsessed with her Nutella and she didn't want to waste any of it. So she made this video and it was just her trying to lick out all of the Nutella from the inside and it was so funny. That's why I took her the jar of Nutella to New Mexico when we were there because I mean
if I find it, I'll send it to you because I know I said to her, I said, you ever get to sign that picture?
what did she say?
She said, no, I haven't gotten to sign that. But she commented on the fact that yeah, her kids were laughing at her and she was under the tree. And it's just kind of like when I met Lachlan Monroe, um, who was in Scary Movie. I was looking at his table and I said, I take it you don't sign any of the pictures with you in the small dick pic from Scary Movie. And he's like, it's like, nope. Had a good sense of humor about it though, but
Maybe he should have borrowed Felissa Rose's post-it.
there you go. There you go.
Or Christy Swanson's posted, I should say. Possession is
There
nine
you
tenths.
go. I'd like to get Felissa on here at some point. So
Yeah.
I know she told me she
Hey,
would, so
she took a picture of me at the convention. I introduced myself as the Terror Express host, and she had been on the show. She said, "Can I get your picture?" So she got her phone out and she did a selfie. I wanted to say, "Okay, that's $20." Obviously I didn't, but my sense of humor, but I didn't know how she would take it, so I didn't say it would be $20, but she did take a picture with her phone. So somewhere out there she's got a picture in her. I'm sure if she scrolled long enough, she would maybe find it. So that was exciting though. I was flattered and that was really cool. It was like Felissa Rose has a picture of us on her phone, so that was pretty cool.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Well, you know what? I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thanksgiving, and I hope
You
Christmas
as
goes
well.
smoothly for you.
You as
And it
well.
was great to, yeah, I know Lisa had sent me a Santa hat for Skittles one year and with a little beard
Oh.
attached. And I'm like, yeah, Skittles said, yeah, treats only. I'm like, Skittles, you gotta wear this. You gotta wear this, you gotta do something. I'm doing all the work. I'm paying all the bills. Entertain me a little bit. And Skittles like, entertain yourself. Yeah. But anyway, Jason, it was great to have you on here tonight. And
Yeah, it was great to be here.
yeah, and I'll put you on the roster for next year, and we'll get your updates, and hopefully I'll have that book all read by then.
Hopefully you'll have them all read by then. I would love to discuss it with you, see what you think.
Yeah, well, so far I'm liking it. It's just
Good, good.
it's not the fault of the book. Trust me, it's
All right,
not
good, good,
not the fault of the book.
good.
Because yeah, it's just I'm working like 12 hours pretty much every day. So and even when I leave and when I get done this process and this interview, I got to go to a location and do a clean, but I got
Oh,
tomorrow off so I can sleep
good, good.
late in
Well,
the af-
go,
late
go,
in the
go
af-
to your location. You're gonna be exhausted. So go do it. Go get it done.
Well, I'm trying to talk Skittles into going to do it, but I think that's a no-go.
Skittles doesn't clean your apartment. He ain't gonna clean any sites for you.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to this relationship is like one way.
Of course it is. Cats like to put their asses in our face for a reason. They're telling us something. That's what they
Skittles
do.
Skittles won't do that with me because he knows what I'll do. I'll stick it. He got underneath the
With the beans.
covers. Actually, Skittles in the wintertime sometimes he'll and I woke up to this before I'd feel his whiskers on my face. And he's like I'd wake up and he's trying to get under the covers. And so I'd pull the covers up and he'd go underneath the covers and he'd curl up right by my waist. One time I blasted out a fart. And I'll tell you, watching him try to get the fucking
So what you did was you turned it around and you put your ass in his face.
yeah,
Yes.
boy, he wasn't long finding a quick way out of there.
Yes, he was.
I was like, with strong skills, I thought you wanted to go in there. Is that a scary place?
It's a dark, scary place.
This is like Sleepy Hollow. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm giving you ideas for your pets.
No.
You wouldn't do that to your kitty?
What, make fart and keep her under the blanket with me?
Yeah,
Of course I would. Of
there you go.
course I would. Yeah.
You can mark that on the calendar as something to do.
Yeah.
And,
I would do it in a heartbeat.
there you go. Fun.
Yeah. They deserve
Yeah.
it.
hmm
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to bid you a good night.
Bid you a good
And
night.
absolutely, absolutely. And happy Thanksgiving to you. And
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Merry Christmas coming up.
All back at you
Absolutely. All right. You take care, man.
too.
All right.
Bye.
Later. Yep. Bye.